Way too long, I've been building walls around me. Keep my distance so you never know too much about me. Trying to keep you out cause I love my safe space. But the problem is I never looked into my own face. Am I ashamed of myself? Am I afraid of my emotions? Am I ashamed of myself? Am I afraid of my emotions? We let it go, will you hold it tight? It's hard to take the blame, I know it doesn't feel right. We let it go, will you hold it tight? You're more than just a mess, you're more than what you realize. We let it go, will you hold it tight? It's hard to take the blame, I know it doesn't feel right. We let it go, will you hold it tight? You're more than just a mess, you're more than what you realize. Way too long, I've been building walls around me. Keep my distance so you never know too much about me. Trying to keep you out cause I love my safe space. The problem is I never looked into my own face. Am I ashamed of myself? Am I afraid of my emotions? Am I ashamed of myself? Am I afraid of my emotions?
We're flying high like a jet stream. See it in your eyes that you feel me. Never wanna come down to the ground. Setting sparks to fires when you're with me. And I realize what it all means when our hearts beat loud to the beat. There's a song in my head, wanna play it again. Soundtrack to the best day that we ever had. You're the one on my heart, erasing all my scars. Oh, I love you so bad. I am better than I've been whenever you're around. Oh, you're looking at me unconditionally. Oh, your voice cuts through to me in every single crowd. And I know you love me till the sky falls down. Till the sky falls down. How we got it so good, I don't know how. Tattooing your name on my heart now. Never wanna let go of this feeling. Soaking in your light right above me is an open sky full of our dreams. Never been so easy to believe. There's a song in my head, wanna play it again. Soundtrack to the best day that we ever had. You're the one on my heart, erasing all my scars. Oh, I love you so bad. I am better than I've been whenever you're around. Oh, you're looking at me unconditionally. Oh, your voice cuts through to me in every single crowd. And I know you love me till the sky falls down. Till the sky falls down. Till the sky falls down. Till the sky falls down.
It wasn't about Dawes speaking at the start. It was about Classic Sports Car Club speaking at the start. What an opening to this show. That is what we've got at Castle Combe this Saturday. What an absolutely fantastic addition to the roster for the year. Surprise bonus thrown in reality. And having covered it numerous times myself, it is one of the best series organizations to cover. It is the busiest paddock you'll be in. It's the busiest race circuits that you'll watch the race in. It is amazing. And as you saw, there's some incredible cars. I'm going to bring in the man that will have been involved in helping set that up as well. It is my partner in crime, Davis.
Dilly dilly, haven't said that for a while.
It's been a while, hasn't it? And they're coming in saying it as you'd expect. It's got to be said. Nice one, Jed. What an emotive opening that was, eh? That gets you in the spirit, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, fantastic.
Talking of spirit.
Yeah, I'm joining you this evening. It's been a long. Well, it's been a long. How many months now? I was chatting to David the other day, and he said, "Well, you've done 36 of these." I said, "Well, I've not done every single one." I said, "Chris has." I said, "So yeah, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it, to think?" Anyway, that's for another day. Yeah, no, really excited, really busy, really pleased to get Classic Sports Car Cup guys here, and I was really pleased to be able to help them out because obviously I'm sure David will explain. And I need to fill a gap in our calendar as well because obviously we were caught a little bit short. So we've offered some racing to people. And yeah, really great grids, really, really good guys. They're only just based down the road in Corsham, so it's been great working with them. Last time they were here, 2017, and they had looked to try and come again next year, but we just couldn't fulfil it with one thing or another going on. So yeah, so really good.
Fair play. I've got to go back one because the messages keep the messages coming in, guys. It's brilliant on Facebook and on YouTube. Look, Crime Watch is back on Facebook. You know it. Sam Preston says, my teacher asked me who I want to be when I grow up, and I said Tom Davis. We all do, mate. We all, even me, just for your hair. That's all I want, mate.
Yeah, it's going.
Stuart Tinker Taylor, hi Chris, from my warm armchair. I think I will take it for next year's racing. Really will be Camp Softcore. Good man. He's going to take his armchair there for next year. I can imagine. Hello, Mike. Good to hear from you, mate. Forever present, and I'm delighted to see you back again. Mike, good evening to you. Baldrick Bryan says, evening, Gin Master. You know it. That's the only reason I've done a show is I was looking for an excuse to drink gin again, Tom.
Yeah, that's the first thing I said to Millie when I got home. I said, you better flipping up your gin game tonight. So, she's made me one, so I'll have to sort of shout through the door.
That means that she wants to have a fight with the current Mrs. Dawes then, because she set the expectations on that, hasn't she?
Yeah,
that's the problem.
That's it.
Let the gin be gin, as Jed says. Listen, we got to bring in the main man because we're going to get the experience in about classic sports car clubs. I'm delighted that I get to commentate. Not as much as I'd like, purely because us commentators are pulled pillar to post, as this person will know. That I love it. I managed to host their awards do last year with a guest of the show we've already had on this year, of course, Karen Chandok. Which was an absolute delight to sit and do sort of like an interview with Karen at the front, and to just get this massive audience of great racing drivers, some amazing machinery that's brought out to play. And it is someone I got to be honest and say I class him as a friend these days, because we always manage to catch up together, not just at Classic Sports Car Club meets, but at other meets as well, because he's first and foremost, he's a petrol head and a racer. And I'm going to bring him in. It is, of course, Director of Classic Sports Car Club, David Smitheram. Good evening, sir.
Hello. It's an honour. Can't believe I'm on TV with you gents, legends. So yeah,
finally made it, David. You finally.
I know.
It is. It can only go downhill from here.
Even Emma Straw says, "Evening, David."
Evening, Emma. Hi.
Mike Morris says about this weekend, looking for at least dry weather Saturday. Looks a bit windy though. We're all right with wind, aren't we? Yep. Well, Tom's always got wind, so it's fine.
Yeah, I think the afternoon we might have a bit of rain, spice things up a bit in the afternoon.
No.
Who knows?
No. I've cancelled it.
Oh, good. Cheers.
Cancelled it. Yeah, I did that for you.
You forgot it was Davis, didn't you? You forgot he's
it'd be an extra bill, but I've cancelled it. It's fine.
Yeah.
The thing is, and I've bored people with this story quite a lot when I've been at circuits, is that we can't read too much into the report anyway, because apparently where the reduction in planes in the sky now, I didn't realize that planes all around the world are constantly feeding data back to the weather systems. And I don't mean that the pilot's going, yeah, it's raining up here, by the way. It's not that. It's actual constant data going back. And of course, that's massively reduced. And I don't know if you've noticed, our weather reports are shot to pieces. You know, I've had it where I'm looking at it, goes 10% chance of rain, and I'm getting soaked as I'm stood outside my front door.
Well, Chris, your first race meeting back in July, I was watching your commentary and your live streaming, and you had it really bad, didn't you, with wet weather? And I'm about I live 5-6 miles from the circuit, and I didn't have a drop here. It's just strange weather.
It is. Yeah. It is odd. It is odd. And normally it's the other way around. You see, the sun shines on the righteous, so we're normally okay at Combe. But someone obviously.
I was going to say, as much as I love talking about weather, I mean, poor old David. He's on we should explain. He's on a bit of a time frame, isn't he? A bit of a curfew.
He is.
He's apparently got a life outside of this. It's just
you've got to talk to us about that at some point, David. We've got to find out.
We'll do.
First things first, Classic Sports Car Club. I mean, as it has for everybody, it's been a terrible year. First half was scuppered. That includes you should have been going over to Spa. Was that right?
Yes, in June. Yeah. That's our annual. We go every year. I think this would have been the 12th year in the row, something like that. But yeah, no chance.
And if that wasn't enough, you guys were at Snetterton. Sorry, I'm going to bring back these flashbacks for you now, David. But and it was just bizarre. I was commentating at Brands Hatch at the time, and I think we had a little bit of rain, and we were getting reports that there was bad at Donington as well and Silverstone. Then the photos came in from what you guys had up at Snetterton on that Sunday.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything like it.
No, it was crazy. We just gutted. Second race meeting back, huge grids, well over 400 entries. We got in one race, and then on the Sunday, and then that was it. Heavens opened, and I think it was something crazy like 2/3 of the annual rainfall fell in something ridiculous like 40 minutes or something like that. So the guys at Snetterton were brilliant. The marshals, the volunteers, all the track workers did what they could. But when you're faced with that amount of rainfall, it's just not a thing you can do. So we lost. That was it. That was race meeting over. So.
And obviously at Castle Combe, we can relate to it because we lost day 2 of the Autumn Classic, of course, which was devastating. Another big event at Combe. But the reason why I'm making a key point about Snetterton, that I've genuinely seen nothing like it. I've been at Snetterton, and that really does have a microclimate at the best of times. The only thing is you get to see it coming in because it's so flat. You see it coming towards you. But the pit lane was a river. Murray's was largely flooded, but the most amazing image for me was the Wilson's hairpin, where you couldn't see it. There was, and it wasn't just covered with oil. It was so deep you could not see that there was even a circuit there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, normally at a circuit where you've got garages, you're laughing. If it's wet, you don't mind so much. But the poor drivers were having all their kit washed away. The water was running down the pit lane through the garages and just carrying their stuff into this massive lake. So yeah,
it was terrible, and it was hard packing up the trucks and everything at the end by the looks of it because of the amount of water as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, bless you.
But no, we're not going to have that then. Like Tom says, it's going to be dry on Saturday.
Well, we just move on from weather. Can we just move on?
Yeah.
But the point being, it's been a tricky year. You've managed to. So you did have the one day at Snetterton there. That was right, wasn't it? You managed the Saturday there.
Yeah.
You've done Donington Park.
Yeah, a record entry there, but that was last month. And then as you played at the beginning, we were at Thruxton in July.
Yeah, and you've got Mallory to come as well. Yeah,
that's right. Just a week. A week's time.
So what have you lost then, David? Overall, how much of your business has been affected?
Over half. So we lost Snetterton, Brands Hatch, Cadwell Park, Alton Park, Spa. And then the reason, a positive out of it, we're with you, but we should have been at Le Mans for the first time ever. Huge name, such an opportunity for our drivers to have said they raced at Le Mans on the Bugatti circuit. Should have been there last weekend, but we had to cancel that as well. So we've lost over half, but the entries have been massive since we've come back, so that has helped.
No, that's great. No, that's good.
And to talk about those entries, I mean, I loved it when the information that you sent through, he says, hoping that I printed out the correct one. I mean, Thruxton, 391 entries, plus second drivers that aren't included in that. Snetterton in August saw 352. Which one was that? Donington, 492, although that did hit 540, but you had to turn a lot away. I mean, that is just mind-blowing.
Yeah. we don't know of a bigger meeting. Honestly, such records don't exist, but we had some of the experienced marshals at Donington say they've been marshalling there 30 years and can't remember anything like it. So, I mean, all credit to the drivers for supporting the club, and it's made a difference to obviously the monies that the club lost earlier in the year. But just unprecedented. Really hard work though, because of COVID, trying to keep everybody distanced. We're fortunate that we've got sensible drivers by and large, and they abided by those rules, and it all went swimmingly.
Are you sure about that, David? I was at the awards. Are you sure they're sensible? I saw them in the cart.
Yeah, but you'd seen them after a few drinks, so
that's true. Yeah,
they don't tend to drink when they're racing.
Why do you think, David? I mean, we've been obviously we've got our own race series, as you know. I mean, what do you think the lure's been? You guys obviously been steady with numbers over the last few years, but why do you think this has been for you guys? Is it something that you just got the ingredients right, or has it been pent up? What is it? Do you think?
A bit of both. I mean, you're dead right. We've been lucky with decent grids for years now, good strong grids, but there was definitely a pent up need to go out racing again. People haven't been able to go out to do anything, have they? To go to restaurants, pubs. There's a few people probably with a bit of furlough money in their back pockets, and Donington's a popular circuit. So I think just all those ingredients together just transpire to make it a whopper.
And was this people coming to you? So a lot of these people, are they known to you, or have you seen an uptake in new drivers or people coming back to you from other series? Because that's kind of what we've seen bits and pieces of. We've picked up things of people where obviously they've dropped off from other places.
A little bit, but then I think all clubs always have a certain amount of churn, don't they? We pick up some new people that we haven't seen for 10 years. But no, I think a lot of it was just existing members. We've got consistently just over 1,000 members, and we were just lucky that half of them wanted to come out of Donington.
That's great. That's absolutely fantastic.
Do you think as well that, because I know Tom and I have had this conversation a number of times, is that one of the ingredients that works for you, and don't get too political on the answer for this, but is that you are series rather than championships? And especially in this environment where people are going, well, is it worth a championship because we've only got half a year? And the series has kind of come into its own. We found it at our circuit as well.
Yeah, I think there's fors and against both, aren't there? I think when I've fallen into that championship mindset where you think, well, I've got to do all the rounds now. I'm committed to it. So I think you tend to see those same people more often in the championship. With a series, maybe we see, I don't know, it's easier for people to dip in and out, I suppose. We're going to cover it, I'm sure, later on, but when you look down the entry list, there's quite a lot of names that are familiar to you guys that are used to doing they're Castle Combe specialists, and they think, well, it's pretty cheap to just join the Classic Sports Car Club. I'll just do that one round. And I think we get some of that. We definitely get some local specialists around the country as we travel about.
And clearly the atmosphere in the club is good, and I've always felt it when I've been had the privilege of commentating on your events, which I'm really looking forward to doing again on Saturday. Although I always say it's hard work because that's a lot of colours and cars and drivers to try and remember, so it's really hard work. But I love it. But the biggest one was then having the even bigger privilege of hosting your awards due last November, and the spirit and the atmosphere, the togetherness was just palpable in a very big and busy room.
Yeah, you're right. That's a big part of it. This is a part of social life that can still continue, albeit at arm's length. But people are missing out on seeing mates at their local pub or club or whatever, but they can still see their racing buddies. So yeah, the atmosphere, it definitely plays a part, and I think it feeds the growth as well. People tell their friends, other racing people, how good the atmosphere is, and they want to be part of that.
I think you keep it fairly simple as well, don't you? I think what I've always noticed with you guys is You've got you've got lots of different things you can race in. I think we'll touch upon in a minute. People can race in various different things at your as well. So it's great value if you want to do 2 or 3 races. And I know there's a few other clubs that do that, and it works well for them. And like I said, you do seem to keep it. You kind of, when I've seen you at the shows and seen you guys around, you kind of do what you say on the tin, and it kind of, there isn't all this kind of you can say it's how you like it, but all this sort of frills and things all around the edges. It is about, isn't it? It's about, you're called Classic Sports Car Club. I get that, but you've got you've got lots of different series in there, and you kind of just consistently. What I like you guys consistently deliver. You consistently do. You can take that as a either way, but you are there, aren't you? A staple in the diet almost.
Yeah, thanks. I think so. I mean, like you say, 11 different series. Pretty much we cater for most types of cars. No single seaters yet, or sports racers, but pretty much anything else can fit in.
And you don't stand still. I mean, I know you use the word yet. That doesn't. I'm not picking you up on that. That could happen. Who knows? And you won't do it if it's going to risk the club. I know it. But the point being is you don't stand still. No. The RX-8s being an addition. The modern classics and future classics and things like that. And I know you and I have had a conversation, David, in the past that's going that the name of the club, Classic Sports Car Club, is that some people get the misconception it's just old cars. And it's like, on the contrary, there is some phenomenal equipment that comes out to play in your series. It just must be, every time you can't get to a circuit, you just must be blown away when you suddenly see the array of machinery from classic all the way up to just mind-blowing stuff. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, when the clubs first started, we had one series for 1960s cars, but now every decade's covered. So it's a bit of a misnomer, and it is. I find it with acquaintances, people are, even relatives, friends, and so on. I'll say where I work, and I know somebody that's got a Hillman Imp or a Mini, and that's immediately they assume we just do classics, but we do everything all the way up to present day stuff. So no, exactly, and that is what I love. Now, before we move on to the entry lists and whatever, I just want to quickly pick up on yourself, because I'll be honest and say I'd forgotten a couple of the bits and pieces until I just double checked ahead of tonight's show. You founded a vehicle filming business years before GoPros took over the world. I like that comment. Filming Fernando Alonso at McLaren, as well as events around Europe on the road and track. And you've worked with Virgin and Toyota. I'd forgotten that side altogether. So have I almost. It seems like a long time ago, but yeah. Wow. Yeah. That just must have been incredible. Yeah, the filming business I only did for a couple of years. It was called Fast Films. Ended up selling on the business, and it got amalgamated into another sort of camera company. But yeah, back then, can you remember those days when before you had these little GoPros, you used to have a little bullet camera, tons of wiring, separate battery packs, plug it into a camcorder, kind of somehow wedge it into your car. That was the kind of stuff that I sold, all of the camera mounts and things. But it led on to some amazing things in 2 years, filming all over Europe, and for different magazines, the BBC, and we sold stuff to National Geographic, and then we filmed for ITV when ITV still had Formula One. Filmed for McLaren, so I've got some good selfies actually with Fernando. So I bet they're massive keepsakes those are. But I mentioned earlier as well, you're a petrol head and well into the racing. You're a qualified ARDS instructor. I was for a short time. But I was about to say. Anymore. I thought that might have lapsed, but your racing license hasn't, because I know you still get out there and race a number of things, don't you? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I most recently raced an RX-8, as you say, just one of the cheapest ways of going racing. And despite their shocking reputation on the road, it was brilliant for 2 years.
You like shocking cars, don't you? Because I say you've got the Corvette, which is here, and then you've just bought a shonky BMW. I have. I don't know if you can see the Corvette. Oh wow, nice! But I raced with. You went over to America to get that one. Did the journey back with it as well? Yeah. My wife and I
just bought it blind. One just before Christmas, I'd
Say
seen this
drunken. You're going
advert.
to say drunken then. You almost
Yeah,
said
no,
drunken.
I don't drink. I don't drink. Honestly, this is not gin. This is water.
You're on.
Yeah, no, I was browsing forum adverts as you do, and I just stumbled across this too good to be true cheap Corvette in the States, in California, and yeah, by about 3 a.m, I'd bought it. I'd put a deposit on it, and yeah, we flew over, drove it across America, did some amazing stuff, did track day at Circuit of the Americas and Route 66 and Grand Canyon and all that kind of stuff, and it's been with me ever since, and it's brilliant. So yeah, it's a regular actually at track days at Combe. So.
It is.
It is, and it's been standing up really, really well, hasn't it? Contrary to what Davis is trying to accuse it of, it's been, you know, putting some other cars to shame from what I've been seeing.
Yeah, it's done all right. It's done okay. Yeah, I'm pleased with it. It's got character.
I've touched wood while I said that. I'm hoping I've not suddenly give a commentator's curse or anything there.
No.
But we're going to gloss over. You wrote a book about BMW Z4. I don't think we need to embarrass you with that one, do we?
It's not a bestseller. It's a few hundred copies a year.
Is that the hairdresser's edition?
Yeah. Well, on that note, actually, that is a car I'm going to be racing next year as well. So Hannah, our secretary of the meeting, she's got into racing, and she very kindly lets me share her car. So she is currently building a BMW Z4. So it may well make an appearance at Combe at some stage.
Ah, fair dues. And you've raced Caterhams, Porsches, Lotus, BMW Mini. I've certainly commentated on you in that. Mazdas, Austin Healey, and BMW. So you do still manage to get out, which is the good thing. And despite the amount of work that you've got with CSCC, you do manage to get out from time to time, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Of course, we can't race with our own club, so you know, my co-director Hugo, he first got into the club by racing with it with the CSCC years ago, but then he came to work for the club, so that's put pay to his racing for a bit. But yeah, so time allowing and money allowing, now I've got a little 5-month-old son. I try and get out and race a few times a year if I can. So.
Mr. Hammersley gets to race though. Is it when once you're honorary, does it not count then?
Chairman's all right. Chairman's okay. Yeah. Director can't. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
I got you. Say no more.
That's why I don't race. That's why I don't race.
Is that so? Yeah. Actually, on that note, I keep asking you, Tom, are you going to pass your odds? Are you going to do it this next year?
I should do, shouldn't I? I mean, I've got everything's ready to go, and this year just paved, obviously, just get kaput to that. But yeah, I keep threatening to. And
how's that Volvo?
It's part of Volvo. The last people use it with Volvo themselves. They come down and did some track days in it. But yeah, it's an old diesel burner. But yeah, it wouldn't take too much to get it. We had a look. The guys at the college had a look at it, and it's got a good cage. It's got some bits and pieces in it. But I'd have to come, like you say, I'd have to come and race with you. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, that's not a problem. That's good.
Whereas my extent, what I keep threatening is something like the KAs or the C1s or something. I think that's probably about my limit. I'll get paid to talk about it instead.
Yeah. Have you raced before though, Chris?
No.
Only at last orders.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I raced then, that's for sure. But no, I haven't. Other than sort of jumping in karts a little bit, I'm my style. I've always said is I'm the fan in the box rather than the experienced racer. But there's constantly this discussion about sort of jumping in a few bits and pieces. I know Mark Werrell now does, for example, and a couple of others that do bits and pieces. And yeah, I'm sort of to be honest, the same as Tom is that I'd sort of ummed and ahed about this year doing getting my yards as well, but yeah, it just sort of scuppered. And yeah, we might look to see whether I do that as well, because even Mark does it with the KA Indy 500, as they have called it at Brands Hatch at the beginning of November, end of October, I think. He commentates and then he jumps out to race, and the co-commentator does the rest. And so there was discussion that we could sort of do something there with different driver teams or whatever, but we'll see. I've always said that those that can do it, those that can't, talk about it. Fair enough. So say no more. Now, in terms of this Saturday, then obviously it's into the one day, so we've not got the full spectrum, but it's virtually isn't it?
We've got a lot of them. We've done a couple of combined series into one race. So yeah, you're seeing a good cross section of our classic and modern series. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got if you could give a very quick synopsis for what they are, Mintex Classic K.
Yeah, so you've got pre-1966 cars running to FIA papers. So that is exactly as they raced back in the day. So Dunlop cross-ply tyres with no grip at all, and no trick modern bits on it. It's all period brakes, engine, etc. So proper cars.
I love this. I'm going to put this comment up because grass cutter Sean Wynn is actually commenting, and he's turned around and said, I need to try four-wheel racing one day. Definitely, winner. Get yourself out there, mate. Rob Jones is in and said evening, and he'll probably back me up on that. We need to get the two-wheel boys out on fours as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Obviously, we've got a guest one as well, the Toyo Tires and WatchdogApp.com Jaguar Saloon Championship, and they're teaming up with the Verum Builders Open Series. Now, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The Jaguars, actually, they're their own club. They're based over in Bristol, the JEC. But the JEC and the Classic Sports Car Club have raced together right since the beginning, since our club started in 2003. Or that was when we first started organising our own race meetings. And so this year we combined them. We put the two grids together, and it's been a success from a point of view of numbers, and I think it's helped both series out really with numbers through the year. What's interesting about it is to keep the two apart. We split the start unusually. So first half will start when the lights go out. The next lot have to just sit there. Yeah, exactly. The next lot have to just sit there for up to 10 seconds, and then they start on the national flag. So, yeah, it's quite interesting then seeing the second batch of cars trying to catch up with the first. But they're on the same bit of tarmac, but they have their own separate race, effectively.
But the fact that the Opens are going to start second, surely they're going to catch up and pass those Jags.
Some of them will, but I mean, some of the Open, you've got a real cross section, as the name suggests. It's open to virtually everything. So you've got things like Ginetta G55s and M3s, all the way down to, he says, looking at his list, things like. I'm trying to pick out something that, without insulting them, that might be a bit more pedestrian. I don't know. A Mini Marcos or something like that.
You've got a couple of our top boys. I mean, I just noticed then, I just had a quick look, and you've got Kevin Bird's in there, and you've got Jamie Sturgis. I mean, Jamie Sturgis is clearing up, as we know. I mean, that's a piece of a car. So
he's won that race before outright.
2019. He's 2019 GT champion. Perry Wadhams is a name we know. We haven't seen him for a little while, but he's a name with his TVR obsession. And seeing him back out there is great to see as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Dylan Popovich in his Ginetta G50, and again another name that we know there.
Yeah, definitely.
So that'd be interesting to see how they get on. The guys who know our circuit well.
Yeah.
And a lot of these Jag guys, I don't know, some of them might have been racing with us a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, some of them will have done. And just on that note, you're right, Chris, that the fast open guys are going to catch the Jags quite quickly. So what we've done, we asked both parties, do you want to start first or do you want to start second? And in the end, we've simply alternated it. So last round, it was the other way around. And the fastest Jaguars caught the slower open guys quick enough.
Okay, so it's going to be this. Yeah, so it's always going to happen whichever way you do it. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
so far we've had no issues. They've been respectful of each other. So yeah, no worries.
I adore the Jaguars racing. It's one of, I think I even used it as an example ahead of the Autumn Classic. It's one of the things, as a 5-year-old sat with my dad up at Quarry Corner, is the Jaguars racing sticks in my mind for two reasons. My dad has always had an obsession with the Jaguar XJS. That was his boyhood number one car, and older than boyhood, that was his number one car. But equally, the bigger Jaguars, seeing them actually, and they do race, even though they're big cars with quite a bit of roll on them compared to normal race cars. And I just still, as a youngster, remember seeing them going around Quarry Corner and thinking, that's just incredible.
Yeah, definitely, and they're now proper classics. Things like an XJS, I think, as road cars, they went through a stage of being a little bit sheddy, a bit tatty. But that's gone now. They are proper classics, and it's the same with the race cars. The presentation is excellent now of them. So, I mean, they're skillful drivers. They're proper hairy-chested kind of cars. Plenty of oversteer. If we do have rain, they are going to be entertaining to watch, I tell you. So.
Most definitely. But since we're talking about this one, let's go through the Verum Builders Open Series. We've got Ben Eacock in a Ford Puma, so that's sort of like one that we can fairly say at the other end of it. Steve Griffiths in a Ginetta G20. We know Ginetta's a great fun, so it's good to see that going round Castle Combe. That's the more classics sort of shape, isn't it? The
G20, yes, that's right. Yep. The sort of 90s shape.
Open cockpit.
2000s. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
With MX5 headlights, that shape.
Yep, got it. Paul Anderton and Tom Mensley in a Renault Clio 172. We know Clios are going to be good fun to watch. Colin Newbold and Mark Court in a Honda Integra Type R DC5. Andy Edwards in a Ford Escort, and that's a Mark II.
I think it is a 2. I could be mistaken, but I think it's a 2.
Yeah, I think I just recall that being the rounded version, isn't it? Or is that actually that would make it the Mark 1, actually, isn't it? The rounded version. Anyway, it's one of the classics. Anyway, that's the important one. Yeah. Dave Griffin in a BMW M3 E36. Rob Hardy in a Porsche 944 S2. Beautiful looking car, that one as well. That's the one with the yellow tash on the front, isn't it? Is there a story behind that? What's the reason for that?
I'm sure there is. I don't know what it is, but they've got a Boxster in the same livery with a yellow moustache on it. I don't know why.
Very, very odd. Jeff Beale, love this. Talbot Sunbeam Lotus. What a car.
Yeah, it's fast. It's properly fast.
Is it?
It's very nice. Lovely metallic blue colour. Yeah, you can't miss it. So, yeah.
I mean, that was the classic rally car, wasn't it? Really, in my mind. But I love seeing that. Equally, another classic. Alex and Trevor Taylor out in their Mazda RX-7.
Mm. Yeah, turbocharged. That's one to watch. That'll be high up. That'll be a top 10 car, possibly better. Yeah.
Wow, loving that one. Philip England in a Subaru Impreza.
Yeah, don't know car or driver that well. I think he's relatively new to the club. Apologies, Philip, if I'm wrong, but I think he's relatively new to the club. So be interesting to see how that does. Yeah.
Dylan Popovich, one of I class as one of our local drivers. He's not local geographically at all, but he's certainly one that we know from racing there a lot. But in a Ginetta G50, which I recall him bringing out possibly as long ago as 2 years ago. It might have been last year. And he's clearly been getting to grips with that more and more over time.
Yeah, so he's a lovely guy as well, isn't he? He's a real nice chap. I got fond memories of racing against him as well in Combe GTs in that ill-fated Lotus Elise, which was the worst car I've ever owned. I'm sorry to say. Sorry for other Elise owners. I just had a bad one, but I remember trying and failing to keep up with him in what did he have? It was a purple sort of.
It was a unique car that they made, didn't it? They were making it, and sadly, I guess it hasn't worked out. It had like an Audi engine in it or something crazy like that.
That's right. Yeah.
That was an awesome piece of kit, but yeah, sadly, I guess it hasn't worked out. Mark Smith, BMW M3 Evo 36. Hold the fort. Jerry Bailey in a Holden Commodore.
I just saw that. It's a great mix.
Yeah, that's a pretty recent one as well. That's got similar engine to the old Corvette. Actually, it's a nice Chevy LS engine. So yeah, it makes a glorious noise. The spectators are going to like that one.
Oh, most definitely. Stuart Dayburn, TVR Tuscan Challenge. I think all Combe hardcore spectators have got a very big soft spot for the TVR Tuscan Challenge cars because it's one of the things that we all remember. The good old, one of so many people's favourite championship was the TVR Tuscan Challenge. It was amazing. And those guys round Combe was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was pre-chicanes as well, wasn't it?
They're not chicanes, David.
Are they not? Pre-Bobbies and S's? What are they then? What are they?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Right, fair enough. We'll move on. Okay.
Yes. Michael Coker in Porsche Boxster S, Dominic Malone in a BMW M3 E90 World Touring Car Championship car.
Yes, yeah, it's a proper World Touring car, I think, and he's another local as well. He's in Bath. It was someone like Rob Huff, or it was Andy Prio's car. It was one of those two. It might have been a Prio car, and it was. I think it came to him with a different engine, and Amspeed, who they're a regular preparer with us. They look after a lot of cars. They know their M3s inside out, and they've put an S54 from an E46 M3 into it. And yeah, that's another one to watch. That car flies. It's really quick.
Well, and by the looks of what Emma's saying, they've been practicing. She says both Dayburns. So that is the TVR Tuscan Challenge, or one of many, which is a good thing. TVR Tuscan Challenge is there this Saturday, and Malone in that World Touring Car BMW were testing today. So they've been banditing somewhat by the sounds of that one. Then that's good. Martin Thomas, BMW E36 M3. I'm assuming that's a local driver because his team sponsor is Somerset Storage, so he's probably fairly local by the looks of that.
Yeah, over in Nailsea. So yeah, not too far away at all.
Oh, brilliant. So there's another local one. Perry Wadhams, like I say, he's one of our own. He's been racing at Combe for so many years. He's out in a TVR Tuscan Challenge. Now, I was going through the photos. Has he got two different TVR Tuscans that he's racing? Because I saw him in this lovely sort of black one with the luminous yellow flashes, but I also saw him out at Donington in a white and red one as well.
Yeah, the white and red one's the one we tend to see, but he's also got, have you seen his new Cigaris as well? I have, yeah. Yeah, we're trying to tempt him out to come and join our new series for this year, the CSCC Slicks series, which regrettably we couldn't fit into this single day at Combe. But I think that could be a quick car. He says otherwise, but I reckon he's just being modest. I think that could be a potential race winning car.
It's good to see he's still got his obsession with TVRs, though.
Yeah, he loves them. Yeah, he and his wife, I think they both like the TVRs, don't they?
Absolutely. Local boy Kevin Bird out in the BMW M3 GT4 E92, and as we said, Jamie Sturgis in the Ram Air Filter sponsored Seat Leon, the TCR. So it's the Seat Leon he's bringing out because, of course, he's got the Golf TCR as well, hasn't he?
Yes, that's right.
That thing, and I'm sure you've noticed it when we watch him take that round Combe. It is just planted.
Yeah, it is, and he is the only person that I can think of that has won our New Millennium Series and Open Series in a front-wheel drive car. Usually, those races are run by the big power rear-wheel drive cars, but he's won more than once in that in his front-wheel drive Leons.
Wow, so, I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't think he didn't do every single round of the GTs yet. He was always up there. And the great thing as well is that I think there could be an heir to the throne coming as well, because I hosted a racing school when his son came and did the racing school, and he was good too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Going back to Kevin, of course, Chabs is coming out as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
With him, because I haven't got him on my list. I'm guessing that's an amendment.
I think he's doing more than one race, but I think he's doing both the Open and the other race. I think Modern Classics from memory, something like that. I've got him printed off an entry list in the smallest font known to man, so forgive me not sort of squinting. But I know Charles is definitely there.
Oh, good, because they did both race together at Brands Hatch the other week as well. Because I remember it being quite a big deal that Chab was back out again, Charles Hyde Andrews Bird, because earlier this year he'd broken his collarbone, I think it was, in a cycling accident, because I was big into his cycling, and he was out, and the two of them were racing. So that'll be. I was surprised that his name wasn't down. So that doesn't take me by surprise at all. Another great car, Paul Bolton in the Nissan 370Z.
Yeah, that's another one that sounds good. Lovely V6. Paul normally races Fiestas with us, but he swapped to a 370Z. So yeah,
Donington, didn't he have them both?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, only because I saw it in a photo in the paddock where was it black with like white checkered on it, isn't it, from
That's
memory
right.
or something?
I
Yeah,
think looks like a Dell's hire car.
That's it. It is.
Dunno,
But
yeah.
I think he's been racing that with us for the Fiesta, that is, for years.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 370 I think was new with us this year.
One that I noticed that isn't out, and I can't remember which one he'd have been in, and it may have been this one, but I may be wrong, is Addison. The number one.
In the Peugeot.
The white with the red flashes on it, and his company name Addison. Didn't he win one of the outright? Maybe I'm.
Yeah, no, you're right. In a little, was it a Peugeot 106?
For some reason, I had a
like
Fiesta in my head, but it was something of that size.
Yeah. I think it was
I know
Peugeot,
his name's not down because he races with the number one car, number one on it, doesn't he, this year?
Yeah, that's right. No, I don't know why. Obviously, it clashes where he very kindly accommodated us at pretty last minute for this meeting. Of course, we couldn't avoid any clashes, so I know that there's another couple of big meetings going on elsewhere in the country, so it could be he's already committed to one of those.
So yeah, actually, there's a couple of meetings on this. So I was just looking. Sorry, some of the reading the entry list then in the cars, and like you said, there are a couple of things going on, but you've got some phenomenal cars in there. To be honest, it's a real testament to you guys.
It really is. I mean, I'm going to very quickly, because I'm conscious of time, I'm going to whip through just so it doesn't sound like we haven't talked about them. In the Jaguars, in the Jaguar XJS is Simon Dunford, David Ringham, Lawrence Ball. In Class JB, we got Michael Siebert in an XJ40, Daniel Stewart in another XJS, Michael Atkinson, XJ3000. The XK8 is always an interesting one. Derek Pierce out in that one. Michael Holt in an XJ6, Tom Lenthal in an XJS. Tom Robinson XJR, Lawrence Kopok in a XJS, and Charles College in a Mini Marcus Mark III Class T. Is that like chairman's privilege or something?
No, we do a taster class. So Class T is taster. So if it's the first time, if you think, well, I wouldn't mind giving CSCC a go, but I don't really want to pay this registration fee thing. So we just say, look, pay your membership, pay your race entry, come and give it a go. The only downside is you don't win an award. So hence he's in a class of his own, but he's going to be out there having fun. Hopefully he'll enjoy it and we'll come back.
My wife says I'm in a class of my own as well, but I don't think it means the same. Oh, no, sorry. She says I'm special. It's different.
Yeah.
100% special.
Okay. I'm going to quickly jump back to Mintex Classic K because I did sort of get you to explain what it was. And if we look at that, we've got Chris Blewett in a Ginetta G12, Paul Toombs in a Lotus Elan GTS, Nigel Edwards in a Marcus 1800 GT. Loving that. Jamie Boot in a TVR Griffith, Jeremy Cook, Russell Humphrey, two local boys there as well, and their Ford Mustang Shelby GT350. Did we see them out, Tom, at the Autumn Classic, or was that on the Sunday they were due to be out?
Hang on, the name rings a bell. Where are we with the
Jeremy Cook and Russell Humphrey?
Definitely entered. They were definitely entered.
Yeah.
I know because I spoke to Jeremy this week on the phone, and
because Jeremy Cook quite often
goes
out in one
Sunday.
of the BMWs as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got an M3 GT4. So.
Yeah.
I think that was possibly with HRDC. I remember there was a few. It could have been with HRDC on.
They
Sunday,
possibly missed out then.
Yeah,
that would be a shame.
Yeah.
Peter and Nathan Dodd in a TVR Griffith 400, Harry Wyndham in a Jaguar E-Type, Steve Chapman in three TR4s, Triumph TR4s, Steve Chapman, John Andrew and Chris Berry. I love those. They are serious racing cars, those TR4s, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're faster than. I'm going to insult TR4 fans here, but they're faster than they look. I always look at them and I think almost. Yeah, I think picnic basket on the back kind of thing.
Yeah,
but they are
absolutely 100%.
They're really fast,
and they always find each other on the circuit, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Always get the TR4 battle. It's just brilliant to commentate on. I love it. Luke Wasson, a Turner Mark II. Keith Waters, Porsche 911, David Thompson and John Wolfe. They, of course, won a lot last year, didn't they? In their they're out in the TVR Grand Tourer Mark III. They are wonderful cars to listen to and watch out there as well, aren't they? Because that's quite a short wheelbase, so they handle brilliantly, don't they?
Yeah, and that pairing have been with us, I think, since the club first began. I can't remember them missing a race meeting even. They just, they love the club, get properly involved, always giving us feedback. Yeah, nice guys.
Because with the awards is that, yes, they're all series, but you kind of work out, who's got the most victories, and there is things such as overall winners and things like that. It's just not officially done by points. And
yeah, no, we don't. Yeah, because we can't do that running series. So there tends to be committee discussion behind the scenes. We tend to give awards for, I think, presentation.
how many beers they bought you?
Yeah, there's all manner of things. So it's all unofficial.
It is all unofficial, Chris. If anyone from Motorsport UK is watching, I'd just like to say that Chris Dawes made those comments and not David Smitheram. So if there's any complaint letters, please send them too.
I worded it wrong, Motorsport UK. My apologies. I worded it wrong. You got to
recognise. Like school, everyone's a winner. That's it. Like school,
exactly.
Isn't it? Everybody's a winner. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
John Hutchinson Senior out, and I know I'm very good friends with John Hutchinson Junior, and he's out in the Gilbum GT.
Yeah, I know. It's I was going to say a weird one. That's an unusual one. An unusual one.
Yeah. Well, don't surprise me with the Hutchinsons. They like to go out in weird and wonderful things. They're wicked characters. Great to motorsport.
This is where we need Hugo, my co-director. He knows his classic cars much better than me. He'd tell you all about a Gilbert, I'm sure. I don't know anything about it. I'm sorry to say, but
then again, that's maybe why we haven't got him on, because we got to get this into an hour.
Fair enough. Carry on.
only joking, Hugo.
We'll get Marcus Pye back.
Yeah, Patrick Kennelly in a Lotus Cortina. I love the Lotus Cortinas.
Yeah, can't beat those.
Matthew and Jonathan Page in a Mini Cooper S. Nick Jesty in a Mini Cooper S. Simon Evans, Mini Cooper S. We know we love those around Combe in particular. A whole host of MGB roadsters: Hugh Coleman, Tim Greenhill and Tim Goss, Mark Hainan, Gordon Russell and Michael Russell, Russell Martin and George Martin, Paul Wybrow, Richard Locke. And then we've got another Class T's, so taster, Kevin O'Connor. Mr. Bean Limited is his sponsor. I like that. Any idea on the story behind that, or is he too new?
No idea. He's in a Mini, which stands to reason, but no, don't know about that.
Love it. Absolutely adore that one.
One car to comment on, just to pick out, and it's such a shame under COVID rules, of course, that the spectators can't come into the paddock, because normally we welcome them, we invite them, as I know the circuit does, but unless it crashes, it's unlikely that they'll see it up close. But the Porsche 911 of Keith Waters is just it could be a concours car. It's just the best presented car racing I've ever seen, outside of Goodwood and the like. But it's amazing. So Chris and Tom, if you get to see it, it's a nice sort of cream coloured, ivory coloured 911. If you look at it in the paddock, I mean, you could eat your dinner off it. So.
Really,
I was just about to say, David, is it an issue? But you've raced a lot of different things, but looking at all these, because is there something if you could just walk through that paddock and pick one of those people's cup, where'd your money be on? What would you
for fun, I reckon probably that 911. Honestly, I've had the pleasure of one of our drivers, a chap called Marcus, who has let me share his car for the last 2 years at Spa in the 3 hours, and that was a revelation. It's the first time I'd raced a classic car, first time on Dunlop tyres, and I'm quite happy drifting a car about, but the feeling of the car moving around so much on those Dunlop tyres, I could really relate to why the classic car scene is booming. It's completely different from racing around in GTs on slicks, So I reckon that 911 would be fun, but I mean, there's loads. I mean, a Tuscan. I think you mentioned the Tuscans. I think one of those would be pretty good. And Perry did once threaten to let me drive it, but it's not happened yet.
The only problem is I remember last year. I think it was last year, the year before. We had the TVRs with us, Chris, and I remember we did a TVR day on the Sunday for them, a little meet.
That's right.
And I helped them on the gate, and I think it went. So they were coming in. They had their little passes, and then it went. I think there was 2 TVRs, and it was some random kind of stopped the guy, and I said, it's a TVR. He said, yeah. He said, TVR's broken down. Okay, so he goes through next car. I think it was a Merc. I said, sorry, it's a TVR. Yeah, well, the TVR's broken down. Third foot, and it literally, it was every third car was a TVR. It was really, and they were all like, yeah, we've had to bring our daily car or something else out of the garage. But shame, really, shame with the poor TVR.
But we still love them.
And they
Yeah,
sound so
lovely.
great. They sound amazing.
Yeah,
They
they
are
do.
cracking cars, but
Yeah.
not very
and
reliable.
crazy fast. Both Emma Strawford and Chris Dennis have confirmed that Jeremy Cook and Russell Humphrey were out on the Saturday in the Shelby, so they did get out there.
Good.
And apparently, I think the Gilburn GT has an MCB engine. John Hutchison Jr. has actually said that Gilburn GT is based on an MGB, so MGB chassis, engine, brakes, and running gear with a fiberglass body designed and built by Gilburn, Wales. Built in by Gilburn, Wales, whatever that means. But thank you,
Thanks,
John.
Johnny. Yeah, cheers.
Much appreciated, mate. Right, and I'm really sorry because I'm conscious that officially you got 3 minutes.
Carry on. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. My dad can wait.
Please pass on my apologies, David,
Don't worry.
to them, please. But I will be bearing it in mind now. Right, Advantage Motorsport Future Classics and the CarTech Motorsport Modern Classics. Is one of those newer to you? Because I didn't remember both of them.
No, they've both been with us for ages.
Okay.
Future Classics was the third ever series the club announced. Modern Classics we've had since 2013. So just
maybe just not always together.
Never together, or virtually never together, apart from this round. And we're trying to offer the opportunity to race at Combe to as many of our drivers as possible. So it made sense to combine them.
I presume the class abbreviations, if it starts with M, that's the Modern Classics, yeah? That's not a stupid a question, by the way, if everybody's listening, because the others start with A, B, and C. Yeah. So that, it wasn't as daft a question as it might have sounded. Right.
Just to explain as well, for those that may be interested, the Advantage Motorsport Future Classics is for 70s and 80s cars. And they are split into two groups. So you've got classes within them as well, but the 70s cars are racing against 70s cars, 80s against 80s. And then the CarTech Motorsport Modern Classics is for 90s cars. So you've got three decades of cars scrapping against each other in this one.
By the way, I'm going to take this opportunity in the middle here to announce to everybody. So if you're watching and you're wondering about this, I was kind of surprised we haven't had asking about it, because we've been asked for the Autumn Classic and the bike meet, whether we were covering it. We are streaming this live on Saturday. Get there in person. It's a lot better. The tickets are available until midday tomorrow. But then you can, even if you're there, you can watch it back recorded afterwards, because it will be going out on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and you can watch it when you get back and catch up with it all. But for anybody who can't make it, whether it's because you've got kids under under 17 or whatever it might be, we are going live, and thank you to Classic Sports Car Club for sorting that out. That is all Classic Sports Car Club has said. We would like it to go out live, so everybody can watch up and catch it. And the reason I'm saying that is because we're about to go through some incredible cars now. This is just amazing. This is possibly my favorite. I shouldn't have a favorite, but I think it is this one. Class A70, Martin Reynolds in a Ford Mustang Mach 1. And David Thomas in a Ford Capri Mark 1. I mean, there's a moment right there. That's just incredible. Class A80, Perry Wadham's back out in a TVR Tuscan Challenge. Mark Chilton in a Nissan Skyline GTR R32.
That is a monster. If you like flames, you're going to like that car, Chris.
Yeah. I don't understand why it's done by Porsche specialist. That's confusing.
Yeah, don't know. They have raced Porsches before as well, but hey, I mean, if you had the opportunity to race a Skyline, I think you go for it. But yeah, he's a regular, or was a regular at racing a 928 with us as well.
Okay.
But that Skyline has won outright a number of times. It seems to be either it wins or it blows up.
Is it blue? Is it the blue? Is it blue?
It's
red,
blue,
white,
and red.
Yeah. Class B70, the Talbot Sunbeam Lotus. I think, is that the same one?
Same one. Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, that's black and blue. And the Mazda RX-7, Alex Taylor as well, back out in that one. Then we've got a quartet of 944 S2s, Nick Whitaker, Rob Hardy, James Dingle, and then Darren Claydon and Jason Andrews sharing the 351. on his own. Now, this intrigues me. Class C70, Colin Claxton in the Triumph Dolomite Sprint.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had more than one of those out as well. Yeah.
I know we have. It just
Weren't they
doesn't feel
something
the
like
right.
the first 16 valve production car or something like that? Wasn't that their claim to fame? Something like that?
Okay. I will see. I'm going to put up, because you might know about this, is that we've got clearly one of the racers saying, looking forward to a great day on Saturday, says Justin Holloway. The big question is, will my Clio finally show its form? See you and my fellow tin toppers on a hopefully dry day. Good luck, Justin. We'll watch that with bated breath. So, Triumph Dolomite Sprint, it probably isn't as old as my mind says as well to be able to fit into that. Mind you, I suppose, what did you say, 70s, 80s?
70s, yeah.
70s,
80s. From 75, just Google it. From 75, there you go.
Is it? So you could have not told us you Googled that and sounded really, really clever
sure,
then,
actually,
Tom.
I could be completely wrong, actually.
Oh, okay.
72 and 1980, there you go. 72 and 1980. They were hideous cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that brought down British engineering, I believe, but because they were just that and they caught all in the Rover factory. They caught all the on the night shift. They were building cars. This is a boring fact for you, but they were building cars for the night, and then they got to their quota of building cars. And they'd all be asleep. And it wasn't only when they did a roll call one night. They went round and they found them all kipping in the boots. I think it was, I can't remember what it was. It might those big old Rovers, the huge one ones.
Big Vitesse,
and they were in the kipping in there. So anyway, there you go.
That's a point, David. Why haven't we got any Rover Vitesses out with you guys? They're amazing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I just don't know. I think a lot of them rusted away genuinely, and the ones that have survived, the Vitesses, the V8s, I suppose they're. You see them racing in Goodwood, don't you, in the members' meeting and things? But,
and you see there's the odd rally one as well.
That's right. Yeah.
They never look like they should race, do they?
No, wobbly things. Yeah.
But Tom, I kind of agree with you. I'm not a fan of the Dolomite, but I have to say, I think fair play to people to bring them out. You can go. That's part of what I love when I get the opportunity to spectate our own races, is that variety, and rather than people just picking what's the race winning car, and everyone races, I don't know, an Elan or an M3 or something. You've got these crazy people that think it's a good idea to bring out a Dolomite or a Citroen 2CV with a motorbike engine we've had in the past.
Absolutely, and
it's what we want to see.
Yeah, and there's one for sale at the moment. Club Racer says in Australia, 20 grand could be yours. There you go. So there you go. So and funny enough, I'm just looking at Gilbans. There's some Gilban shells here actually for sale as well. So there you go. So we're learning quite a lot tonight. I am listening, but I'm also intrigued. It's just because I think it's such an eclectic mix of stuff.
Yeah,
and it's a real. I mean, the Autumn Classic, don't get me wrong, has some amazing cars, but you tend to find the Autumn Classic is they are more or less, or normally very period. And this, I'm not saying that there's anything right or wrong with that, but this is just like. You're just going one of those, and it's racing against one of those. Because again, with Autumn Classic, tends to find they're racing against very similar things. But this really is when you see. Did we just say that the Skyline is in the same race as a Dolomite Sprint? Sorry, and I think that's the bit that's got me tonight. Is just going through and you Google it and you're going, no, that is one of those. And I know what an R32 Skyline is, and it's just fascinating. Especially it's a bit like our GTs, isn't it? In a way,
as Tim Perry, one of our Mighty Orange Army, says, I love to see all the old English cars, even where the reputations. And exactly right.
It's Mercedes. This picture of Mercedes.
Yeah, that's not very English, Tim. But I agree with you, mate. I agree. Yeah. Class C80, Paul Dolan and his BMW 325i E30. That is the old stuff that was in the production BMW. Championship, is that right?
Shape. It's that shape. Yeah.
But they're becoming harder to get, or certainly to get the parts is becoming harder.
Yeah, I did a season with PBMW in a 320 3 years ago now, something like that.
Is it that long ago?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Blimey.
As you say, some of the parts are getting harder to find now. They're proper classics. So.
I loved my E30. I had an E30 and I scrapped it. I was just a cracking car, but so gangster at the time. Early 2000s, and it just rot again. Had a bit of rot, and just everything. The suspension all rotted at the back. Do you remember? They used to bang, like this, bang, bang. Yeah. And the guy just took it to the garage, and he said, "You're looking at about 500 quid's worth of work." I just scrapped it. Looking back now, Jesus. Anyway, never mind. Great cars. That'd be good.
I asked what you were doing on the back then to make that happen.
It was a long time ago.
Michael Kidson, BMW E3318 IS. James Hebditch in a Mark 1 Golf GTI. That's really cool to see that out.
2 of those.
Did you?
Yeah, not GTIs, unfortunately, but Mark 1s.
Christopher Pidcock in his Porsche 924S, so that'll be good to see out. John Hammersley himself, and I love this car, the Vauxhall Astra GT 16 valve.
Yeah, he's had it for decades.
With the period colours on that as well, isn't it?
Well, he raced it in period as well.
Oh, wow.
I mean, John's raced for just decades, super experienced, but I'm sure he's got some story he'll tell you about Cleland, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, he used to race back in the day in the Wiltshire 24-hour, and he's racing all kinds of things. So yeah.
And again, they had a hell of a reputation, didn't they? That hot hatch. They were getting one of the first sort of Vauxhalls to do that, weren't they? They were cracking. I remember those again.
Yeah.
Awesome car. Doesn't he sometimes? Who sometimes races that for him? Is it Adam Brown who's out?
Adam Brown, that's right.
XR2 or whatever for you guys, isn't he?
Yeah. He's a young driver. He did his first ever race with us, and I think he's sometimes a little bit quicker than John now. But they're a good team.
Glad you said that, not me.
Yeah.
Andrew and Richard Hayes out in that wonderful white Toyota Supra Turbo. That looks awesome as well.
He again was one of our founding members, and up until 3 years ago, something like that, he did all of his races with us, driving to and from the circuit, which I've done that a few times myself. Wow. But he did it for years,
awesome.
More than 10 years.
Do you remember the championship that I think used to be like the forerunner of doing it that way? The Slick 50 championship. Do you remember that? I remember when I was young that was the thing, and that was quite unique. That those people were arriving in their cars and going in their cars, and it seems to be done a bit more ironically these days, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was just saying the power of Google. Just saying that I've just found his car, and his H registration, road legal plated, which is I think is crazy, isn't it? That's real. That's some testament to do.
Yeah. Jed also says stop bragging about having those cars.
A long time ago.
Yeah. Aidan Farrell and Dave Whelan in a Porsche 911 993 RSR.
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, they have fallen foul of COVID. They come over from Ireland and they have had to pull their entry. But that's a genuine RSR. Can't miss it. It's purple and yellow. That's been a race-winning car overall with us before. So lovely guys.
Amazing, aren't they? Yeah, that's a shame.
We'll see it next year.
2 TVR Tuscan Challenge cars, Stuart Dayburn and Tony Blake's out in his as well. Kevin Bird's out in this again as well. This time in the Nissan 200 SX. That's interesting. That one's up for sale last I heard, which is a shame because he's raced that in the GTs, but he's obviously given it a bit of an out in here as well. Is that just Kevin in that one, or is that going to be him and Chab?
I'm pretty sure he's down with Chabs as well. Yeah, I'm wondering if your list isn't showing your second drivers, or is it showing?
No, some of them do. Yeah. I've got like Aidan Farrell and Dave Willing together. Would have been at number 9, but Kevin Bird wasn't on that. But it's mine was back on the 15th. Was the one that's up on the website at the minute. So I'm pretty sure Chab is out with us. That car also is out in your Combe saloons as well, isn't it? He's quite irregularly. They swap between that and the McGann. The McGann we haven't seen for ages, actually. We haven't seen the McGann for a long time. But that 200 he was out, and then suddenly, tail end of this year, is that Eagle Eyes amongst our hardcore fans that spotted that car's up for sale. Now, I know the age-old thing is that every race car's always for sale. If someone rocks up with the right money, it's always for sale. But it was actively advertised, interestingly, that one. So and worth looking at because he was leading the G. Was it saloons or GTs? I can't remember what he was in with that.
He was in. It must have been the GTs. Yeah,
GTs. I think it was.
Yeah.
But
It's a
anyway,
quick
he was
car.
leading
It's
the
a really quick car.
championship, yeah, and he just had a couple of issues, sort of like middle of the season. But it is, and it's such a unique looking car as well, isn't it? It's another one that doesn't look right, but he pilots that well. Dave Griffin, BMW M3 E36, Alan Drain in the Porsche Boxster S, John Walker and Christian Walker in the Porsche Boxster 986, Jeff Beale in a Talbot Sunbeam Lotus. Now that's a different name, so I'm guessing that's a different Talbot Sunbeam Lotus.
Right, sorry, that's the blue one that we mentioned before. The other one, I'm guessing, was perhaps Mr. Ellis, which is if it is, it's a black and silver one.
Okay,
so,
okay.
Yeah, Matthew and Martin Ellis is a black and silver one.
I will update my notes on that one then. Or I possibly didn't have that one. I just remembered the one. David, trio of Lotus Elise S1s: David Sharp, Glyn Davis, and Suzanne Williams.
Yes, now a duo. Suzanne, bless her, she's a regular marshal with your good selves as well, and I've had the pleasure of racing against her at Castle Combe. And she comes across from South Wales, and regrettably, of course, is a COVID lockdown victim. So, yeah, can't make it.
That is a real shame. Okay. Right. So that's that one. The Gold Arts Magnificent Sevens. I mean, that speaks for itself. It's that everything that's Caterham-esque, basically, always bumper grids, as anything Caterham seems to be bumper grids, doesn't it, really? And testimony that, there's got to be quite a reasonable amount of competition for you guys out there, but you always fill that grid up massively. Yeah.
I mean, all of the other Caterham races, or most of them out there, tend to do sprint races and championships. So we're a bit different with series. So each event is its standalone event, and they're longer races. We tend to do 40-minute races with a stop. So if you've got two guys, or two girls for that matter, wanting to share a car, they split the cost. So that's the big difference. The other big difference, and why that series just continues to thrive, is the driving standards. And it almost became a regular thing, didn't it, with marshals, that if a Caterham came back to the pits with all its wings still on it, then they weren't trying hard enough. A bit of a wuss. But yeah, we've got a bulldog of a coordinator in Peter French. He's a real nice guy, and he doesn't accept rubbing his racing. None of our categories do. There is no rubbing his racing. But if contact happens, we accept it if it's genuinely unavoidable and an accident. But we don't want to see our sevens coming back in pieces. So.
And it's very varied what you're able to get there. And it's like, I was looking through this list and thinking, I've commentated on them in this, and I've commentated on them in something else, and them on something else. And it is bringing a whole raft together. Class B, the Super Sports, by the looks of it: Gavin Crawford, Ian Hare and Andrew Greenwood, John Wright, Simon Lancashire, Nick and Eddie Powell, Robert Cooper, Jason Garrett, Tom Woodcock. Class C, which is the 310Rs: Jeremy Adams, Suraj Chatterjee and John Timperley. The 420Rs: Richard and Pascal Green. I've definitely commentated on those guys. And Mark Drain as well, I have. Class E, which is less obvious because there's a mix in that one, by the looks of it. Ian Mockett and Mark James in Class 30. 54 is Simon Lanyon and Mark Lanyon. Carl Landry and Philip Pittman in 58, William Redman and Charles Redman. I love the fact there clearly is quite a lot of families that do this together as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of brothers and father-son teams. So yeah.
Class F, Tim Bishop in his 7 Road Sport, Graham Charman, in his Superlight. Tim Woodman, that's one that we know at our circuit, of course, in his Caterham 7.
Chris, I'm going to interrupt you there for a shameless bit of self-promotion. My best ever overall result was at Castle Combe, and it was in 2011, and I got 2nd overall. There it is, Castle Combe. And the chap that beat me was Tim Woodman, and I don't ever let him forget it. So
shouldn't it be the other way around? He shouldn't let you forget it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. He was miles in the distance. So yeah.
Well,
Carry on.
and he's got some experience out there in that circuit, so
He has.
yeah, he should know. Richard Carter in his R300, wow, and Hugh Coulter in his C400. Ben into Class G, Ben Simmons in his CSR, Stephen James in the Super Sport, Tim Davis in the C400, as equally Colin Watson's in the C400, Robert Forsdyke in a CSR. Class H, Ray Ames and Stephen Story out in a Caterham Blackbird.
Yeah, they were made in small numbers, bike engined, as it
Yeah,
suggests.
'cause
So
it's only
same
1200, isn't it?
Yeah, same engine from the Honda Blackbird Superbike. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, of course.
I think they weigh 400 and something kilos. Amazingly light things.
So he carries it to the circuit. Others drive their cars. He
Yeah,
carries that to the
that's right,
circuit. I got you. Yeah. Another Class T, and actually this I don't know. I'm not sure about Tom Collar, but I know Louis Wall. He lives up in Cirencester.
Cirencester, yeah.
And he was an amazing supercar driver.
Oh right, I didn't know that.
Phenomenal supercar driver, and I'm sure he won championships in it as well. And that's where I first got to know Louis. Lovely guy. Is it like a farming family or something like to that effect? I'm sure it's something like that. And they're out in the Class T, so they're obviously giving it a bit of a taster out in a low-cost Mazda, which of course doesn't sound like a 7, but that it is. It's the 7 with the Mazda engine, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, the series allows all kinds of 7s. If it looks like a 7, if you squint a bit, then chances are it'll be allowed.
Awesome. I love that. So bumper grid for those guys. Absolutely love it. Now, when I say bumper grid, this one's a real bumper grid.
Yeah.
The Adams and
This is the
Page
biggest.
swinging 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm guessing that is where it started for you guys?
It is, yeah. It was the first series. Back in 2000. I think that was 2001 or something like that. So the difference being the Adams and Page swinging 60s, as it suggests, for 1960s cars. But with this one, you're allowed some modifications. So there's only really 4 main rules. So they're otherwise known as hot rods. Now you have got some proper period correct cars. Some of the classic K cars will also take part in this one as well. But you've also got quite a few that are very well developed over the years. So there's controls on the engine and the tyres. You've got to run them on carbs, and the bodywork. They've got to look like 1960s cars. But other than that, suspension, brakes to a point, engine modifications. There's a lot of freedom to tinker. So this series has grown to the point where at most circuits we end up having to split them into 2 grids. So there just wasn't the opportunity to do that on this occasion. So we've just got one combined grid, and we did have a big list of reserves. Fortunately, that's dwindled a little bit, and we've just got, I think, a full grid of 42 cars, something like that, 43 cars.
Oh, really? Now, on that note, I would therefore, because that's different to what I would have on my list as it stands, and I would say, well, can you go through it? But yours is too small to read.
Yeah, it's pretty small. I can rattle through it, but go on. You go for it. I think your list is the only.
I've got reserves and things like that though on mine.
Yeah, carry on. If I can think of the odd person that's pulled out, then I'll say
okay.
so. But, yeah. I mean,
and we'll do it relatively quick because, again, I apologise, David. I have taken the mickey out of your time, and I'm sorry, but I'm enjoying it. If I'm honest,
I'm enjoying
it
too, Chris. Yeah, no worries.
Good.
I'm just googling all the cars. I can't believe. I mean, I'm literally. I've been going through, so I've been jumping ahead, and just. I mean, we're talking about this swinging 60s now. Apart from, I just had to Google to see when the 240Z was first built, 1969. So it's right on the cusp there. But I just can't believe. The mix, it's just mind-boggling.
It's beautiful, isn't it? And that is, I absolutely adore this. Class B, Tim Cairns in the Turner Mark II. Love that car. Mark Cloutman in the Austin A40. Car 40 and then 40X. So this is a team, but it's 2 cars. They're relaying it basically, aren't they?
You've got it. Yep.
Philip Stader in his MG Midget, and the 40X is Michael Henney in his Austin Healey Frog Eye Sprite. We all love those. They're wonderful cars. Justin Potter and Simon Stowe in the Austin Healey Sprite. Richard, and just jump in if you know that they've pulled out. Just go, Chris, and then stop me. Richard and Ian Bryan, sorry, in their MG midget. David Gibson, I love this car, the Austin Healey Lenham Le Mans, beautiful car.
I just looked that up as well. I didn't, and there was one for sale a couple of years ago. It was an ex-Barry Wizzo Williams car as well. So I don't know if that's the same one or not. But there you go.
It's stunning. That's that white 99 car, isn't it? I think it's white.
You might know better than me. I can't picture it.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Kim Bradshaw in the MG midget. David Smith. That's not you moonlighting, is it?
No, not me.
All right then. I thought, go for it. Yeah, well, there's moonlighting. Is go for a, try to hide your name a little bit.
Yeah.
An MG Lenham Le Mans Coupe in that one. Lovely. Class C, we've then got, these are the predominantly minis. Morris Mini of Anthony Hunting. Intriguing. Pete and James Crudgington in a Mini Gem Mark 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, again, this is where we need Hugo. He loves his Mini Gems and his Marcos and things like that. So he's building a Mini Marcos at the moment. They're local as well. They're Bath. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what, I don't know whether because I've got obviously this list, the sort of public one, and it doesn't have where they're from on there.
No.
I don't know whether you have a list that does have where they're from or not.
Yeah, I do here, but
for me, I mean.
For you, please. I can sort that. I can sort that for you. Yeah.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Yeah.
David Morehouse, Austin Mini, Chris Watkinson, Matthew Howell, and Julian Howell, both out in Austin Minis as well.
Yeah, and the Howells are both local as well. They're Radstock, not far.
Oh wow, fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Class D. This intrigues me. Glenn Canning in an NSU TTS.
Yeah.
Is that like Tigger with his TTFN? I don't know.
Yeah. Funny, I mean, he loves his NSUs. I think he's something to do with the club in the UK, quite high up. He and his wife in the club. I don't know if you can picture it. It's sort of almost
it's
a bit like a hill. Yeah, exactly, like an rear engine. So you'll see the boot propped up, give a bit of cooling air to the back.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I look forward to that one then. Martin Reynolds, Ford Anglia, love those. David Cronwallis in the real classic BMW 1600 Ti.
Yeah.
Beautiful
yeah, can't miss
car.
that as well with Radio Caroline livery on there. He's a big fan of, remembers it well, obviously from when was Radio Caroline? Was that 50s or 60s in its heyday, something like that, in the old pirate radio stations?
Is that the one that was on the boat?
Yeah, 60s,
that's it. Yeah, and it's still there. Yeah, I think there's a boat still there. But David's organised tours for some of our swinging 60s drivers. They've gone over actually onto the boat while it's been transmitting. So. Yeah.
Wow, fair play. Papa Pa says that NSU is a fabulous little car. Love that one as well. Oh, and Emma Strawford says both Howells raced minis with us in the Combe saloons.
Doesn't surprise me. They are ones to watch. They are properly fast at Combe. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, and that explains it. Thanks, Em, because I didn't realise that. That's that's good stuff to know. Class E, David Waterhouse and Mark Richards, an MGB Roadster.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Jack Smith in an MGA. Wow, fabulous. Yeah, I bet it is. Ian Clark in an MGB GT. Richard Locke in an MGB Roadster. Beautiful car as well. Gary Lyon in his Alfa Romeo GT 2000. That's a lovely car. And Michael Didcott in his MGB Roadster.
Michael's had to pull out, I'm afraid.
Has he?
Yeah,
okay.
He's withdrawn. Yeah.
Fine. Okay. Whoop that one out.
I think that was a car not ready issue, but I think.
Got you. Class F, Matthew and Jonathan Page in a Mini Cooper S. Gavin Crawford and Tom Woodcock in an Austin A40 Farina. I guess that's a particular styling that has gone on to the A40.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Farina bit is. I know what everyone knows the A40, but yeah, not sure of the Farina.
So isn't like Pininfarina, isn't it? Surely like a.
That's what it sounds like, isn't it? Yeah.
Maybe.
Paul Wybrow in MGB Roadster, and then a pair of Austin Mini Cooper S's, Nick Jesty and Simon Evans. Class G, Mark Campbell in a Triumph TR5. Andrew Hall in a Triumph TR6. Roy Chamberlain in a Triumph TR250. And this I love, and you referred to something like this, Tom, is that we've got a pair of Datsun 240Zs, Dave Roberts and Dean Halsey.
Well,
in their
interestingly, there was one for sale. It says a front runner CCSC car, and it was for sale back at the start. And it's the orange, blue and orange liveried one, David, and that was for sale. Might actually still be for sale for 30 grand on Classic and Race Cars Direct. So yeah,
That's
I don't know.
a lot of the money.
Yeah, it's been up for a while. Yeah, it goes from Tetbury by the looks of things as well. So I don't actually. That's
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be a different one, but yeah, just interesting because, like I said, I looked it up, and there you go.
Farina designed the A40 according to Steve Backman. So there we go.
Yeah.
Both of the 240Zs you mentioned, Chris, have both won outright before. They're ones to watch.
Ah, okay. I'm not surprised, but that is worth knowing. More Triumphs in that class. David McDonald's in the TR6, Christopher Edwards in the TR4, Mark Parsley and John Ellison in the TR6. Into Class H, please don't tell me this one's pulled out. Nicholas King in an Aston Martin DB4.
I think that one's still in. I think we're all right. Yeah,
you're lucky. I would have killed you then, David. And another one in reality, Harry Wyndham in a Jaguar E-Type.
I'm afraid he has pulled out. Family bereavement, I believe. So,
bless. Thoughts with you then, my friend.
Yeah.
Class L, a pair of Lotus Elans, Jamie Keevel in an S2 and Jonathan Crayston in an S4. Class V, John Wolfe and David Thompson in the TVR Tuscan V8. So different to the one that John Wolfe was out in that I mentioned earlier.
It is, bigger engine, this one.
Yeah, just a bit, 5 litre. And Jamie Boot in the TVR Griffith.
Yep.
Class H, although he's down here to first reserve, David Thomas in the Ford Capri Mark 1. Is he in now, is he?
I think he is. But again, I wasn't in the office today, so I'm not certain on that.
We'll hang fire. Simon Lewis and Guy Konu in a Jaguar XJ6.
They're in.
And then, good. And Class V, Nigel and Oliver Rubin in the TVR Griffith.
I hope they're in.
I hope they're in.
Yeah, I mean, the ones to watch. I don't know about you, but I tend to think of Combe as a bit of a power circuit. But the minis, the classic minis, last time we were with you in 2017 were dominant. They were really fast there. So watch out for those. Tim Cairns is rapid in the Turner, and the Elan's are quick, of course, as well. So look out for particularly Jamie Keevel. He's last 2 seasons in particular, he's been quick.
Oh, Chris is gone.
Where's he gone?
I'm here.
He was going to the toilet and didn't tell us.
Actually, I will. Now you mentioned that, I will do. Talk about you amongst yourself because we're on to the
Poor David's got to go. Poor David's got to go.
I know. We got one more to do, David, and then we're
Where are we? I'm
fine with that.
Cars.
Co-ord Sport Tin Tops and Motorsport School Turbo Tin Tops with the RSX and the Puma Cup. That's a lot into one, David.
It is. Although, actually, in reality, it's the bulk of it is the tin tops and the turbo tin tops. You got Co-ord Sport tin tops are normally aspirated, and hence you'll see a few familiar names that also do your saloon championship. And then we've got the Motorsport School turbo tin tops are forced induction. So you've got all the supercharged and turbocharged stuff. And this is one of the few times we've actually combined them. So I'm intrigued to see whether turbo power or normally aspirated is going to win out. I'm just not sure. And in addition, we've got a handful of Pumas, and they are their own category, but they choose to race with Classic Sports Car Club, which is great.
Yeah.
So they'll be racing by themselves. And then the RX-8s are relatively new.
They race year, didn't you? Did you launch that last year?
Yeah, we launched that last year. Yeah. So I bought one myself and developed it, and we launched it actually at Castle Combe. And we took photos there and tested it. They're basically standard RX-8s. I bought mine for 800 quid off eBay.
Yeah.
You put in some Mintex brake pads, some Nankang tyres. Other than that, you chuck in all of the mandatory safety kit, and that's about it. So my race car was ready to go for about £4,000, something like that, which is not a lot for a rear-wheel drive car.
But surely, I mean, those engines are so unreliable, though, aren't they? I mean, that's the problem. I mean, you'd be struggling to do a race, wouldn't you?
No, actually, they're. I see it as an advantage. There's no question they are
temperamental.
Yeah, but they need a bit of special care. They should never have really been sold for the kind of person that never lifts the bonnet in between services. You know, they need oil. That's how they're designed, and they need high revs from time to time, else they get coked up. So yeah, 9,000 RPM. That does them some good. So I didn't touch mine engine wise or anyway. I ran it for 2 years driving to Corsham and back for commuting. I don't have a trailer when I race, so I raced all over the country at Snetterton, Silverstone, Alton, all over the place. Never had a problem. So yeah, we've just every race we have a handful of those between sort of 4 and 8 of them, and they have their own little battle as part of the turbo tin tops. So yeah, they're worth watching. And
isn't this? Apologies, I obviously missed the start. That I'm pretty sure I recall that this is the first year, isn't it, for those for you?
Second year now.
Second, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. But,
so another
and then
name,
you know what this year has been, and yet it's still, you're doing that.
Yeah, that's right. And you know the name Anthony Weeks from Saloons. So he is our class representative. So you might recall he used to race the RX-8 with you, so he knows a thing or two about them. So he's there behind the scenes helping us run that,
which is good. And I just think they're lovely, intriguing looking cars, and the whole technology behind it was just totally unique. And it's good that something new coming along was intriguing. And then to hear you say about the price of it, and I recall commentating on you driving in with that car and then racing it and then driving away with it. I remember I think the last one I did for you was at Silverstone for that.
Yes.
Although I think you had a bit of a problem in the morning actually, but then you got it going again.
Exactly, which and that's actually the only problem I ever had with it, and it was entirely self-inflicted. So
I thought I remembered that.
Not an expert on it, but most cars, if you use them on track, you make sure the oil is full, right to the full of the dipstick, not on an RX-8. So I had the most impressive smoke screen you could possibly imagine coming out the pits, and that was as far as it got. So
you just said there's such great easy cars, and for the mechanically minded.
It is now he knows that.
Now I know.
Now you know that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's it.
Right. So this one is a big old mix of things. So Class A, Chris Earl in a Honda Civic Type R, Gary Barlow in, and no, it's not that one before anyone questions it, Honda Integra Type R, Peter Parkin in a Peugeot 306 GTI 6. Now, that's an intriguing car. I learned to drive in a Peugeot 306, not a GTI 6, of course, but it's an intriguing car. And that you've got one of those, an intriguing looking one in your Slick series as well, that's got all the bodywork and everything on it as well, haven't you?
There's a 306.
No, you're thinking of Ricky's car, aren't you? I think is that not the two?
The 309. You're thinking of the 309 in Special Saloon.
309. Sorry, I am. And in fact, it was a 309 that I learned to drive in. So ignore me. I've got that completely wrong. It was a 309 I learned to drive in. Yeah. Okay.
Special Saloons, incidentally, we can't. Again, we couldn't fit them in, but I know that they are popular with the spectators at Combe.
Yeah,
if we can get things together between the clubs, between club and circuit, if Classic Sports Car Club comes back in a couple of years' time, we will do our very best to bring the Special Saloons back.
Because that's even got things like was it like a Morris Minor with all sorts of wings on it and stuff and everything?
Yeah, it's an ex-police Morris Minor with a Chevy V8 in it. So,
as you do.
But that's not there, so yeah.
No. David Hutchins in a Civic Type R, Colin Newbold and Mark Court piloting a Integra Type R DC5, Eric Bolton in a Civic. Is that Eric Bolton that was out in the 370Z?
It is, yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. And Carl Chambers out in a Peugeot 306. And that's Carl Chambers that has been racing that in ours, is it not? Is that the green one? No.
Yeah, I think he has made an appearance for a few different clubs, but actually I think that list you've got's an old one. So he's not out in the 306. He's in that race in the turbo tin tops in modern Peugeot. I think it's a 208 GTI.
Oh, really?
You might find his name's further down. I think he was in there twice. Yeah, it's a 30th anniversary 208 GTI. Yeah.
Oh, really? I was just checking to see whether I had him somewhere else as well. Okay, well, I'll get that
Might
new
get to
list
him.
and update my notes
Yeah.
tomorrow. I've transposed all this to spreadsheets that are all clever, and now this out of date.
Yeah.
You guys.
Sorry.
Those drivers, they're like herding cats at the best of times anyway, aren't they? Class B, a whole load of Clios. Robert Jarman and Jonathan Hunter in a 172 Cup. Justin Holloway, we heard from earlier in the number 17 car. Tom Mensley, Lee Channing, Tim Richmond, Simon Stowe, Michael Dwayne, and John Baker, all out in Renault Clios. That's going to be interesting. All of those. I mean, the Clio is a good surefire track car, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, they're obviously they have their own class, but we only split them in class just because there were so many of them. Class A just got huge, but yeah, a well-driven Clio's capable of outright win. They have indeed won with us at Castle Combe before.
Yeah, that would be interesting then. Surprised there's not more in Class C with the Fiestas. The Fiesta STs are Steve Patworth and Thomas Horton. And I think there has been like Finley Motorsport running some in there and stuff, hasn't there, in the past?
Yeah, we've had 10 or more in the class, but a shout out to the sponsor of the tin tops. We don't normally mention other clubs or races or whatever, but Coord Sport have been excellent, as have all of our sponsors, but Coord Sport have been very good. And before Castle Combe was announced, of course, we were supposed to be going to Le Mans previous week. So this weekend was supposed to be free. And Coord Sport, I believe, have paid for entries or helped organise entries for a CSCC Tin Tops team in the Burkitt taking place at Silverstone this weekend. So it does mean that we're minus about 6 cars, but that I dare say there's probably at least a couple of Fiestas in there.
Right, let me just point this out to people. Minus 6 cars, and yet they've still got at least 5 reserves on this list I've got. So that just to paint you a picture of how good the Classic Sports Car Club is. Just going to bring this question up for you to answer, David. Our very own Mike Cotton says, pardon my ignorance, do all the 40-minute races have pit stops?
They do indeed, yes. Yeah, and they can take them between 10 minutes into the race and 25 minutes. So, yeah. They must make a pit stop.
And obviously, those that are changing drivers, they will be changing drivers. Those that aren't changing drivers, what do they have to do?
They now sit in the car. It used to be pre-COVID, it used to be quick as you can, which meant it got pretty exciting in the pit stop. And indeed, it was an excellent leveler that you could beat somebody with more horsepower than you simply because you'd bothered to practice your pit stop and you've got a mate to help you or mates to help you. Unfortunately, of course, because of social distancing, that's just had to be shelved temporarily. And we're now doing a fixed 2-minute pit stop. So they will be screaming into the pit lane until the 60k board, driving through, and the 2 minutes starts at the 60k board. They'll be coming to a halt, either changing drivers, as you mentioned, or they can sit there, have a drink of tea or whatever they want, and then they leave, and they mustn't cross the pit outline before 2 minutes has elapsed, or else they get a penalty.
Got you. Fine. So there you go, Mike. There's the full answer for you that was actually useful for me as well before I get into the commentary tomorrow as well. On Saturday, sorry. Class D, Jonathan D in the Honda Integra DC2. That's one that races at our circuit. Yeah,
and he was a regular marshal, I believe, as well. I think he marshalled at Castle Combe. I'm sure of it in the past. So,
yeah, I think you're right. That rings a bell. Roger Field and Richard Jason Field out in a unique car, Proton Persona GTI Coupe.
Yeah, father and son team, been with us for years. They are fast. They are really quick. That car has been... It used to be a midfield car, but the last couple of seasons, they've clearly spent a bit of time and money developing it. Expect to see that top 5, I would say.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Cool. Class E. Now, this is, I know that on my list it doesn't have a 2-driver, but I know it does. Car 24, the Citroen Saxo VTS, Nathan Nichols, and he's being joined by previous British touring car driver, Howard Fuller.
Yes. Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. and that's a good link up because I was commentating on the sim series that they set up, and Howard Fuller was part of that, and Nathan's managed to get Howard Fuller to come and actually race with him. I'm going to be interested to see how that thing goes.
Yeah, definitely. I think also one of our committee members, Damien Hurst, was instrumental in that as well. I believe he knows Howard as well. So.
Right, that'd be good. Rock Valley Automotive, they'll be looking forward to that. Big John will be happy. Martin Adams has actually turned around when you say about the pit stops, and he said Mark Werrell took a break from commentating to help with my pit stop. I think he means there at Combe one year. I'm not surprised. What, Martin? Why I didn't notice your name because I love his. Now I'm going to say TR7, but his was actually the TR8, was it not?
It's a TR7 V8, which I don't know the technical differences between the two, but either way, it's a TR7 with a V8 in it.
I always thought that's what the TR8 was for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. Was it a separate model or I don't know.
I love it anyway.
Yeah, I race against Martin and his son elsewhere, and they have been, well, Martin and family, his wife as well, have been with the club again almost since the start. They are currently building a Tuscan. So I think it started out as an excellent buy, kind of on the button car, and I think they're sort of a year in and they're still sorting out problems. But when they get it sorted in their hands, that will be a fast car.
Well, I have a weird confession to make. For whatever reason, when I was a youngster, my favourite car was the Triumph TR7. I have no idea why. For me, it just looked wicked. Yeah, but I just thought it looked wicked.
Another doomed Britishman. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I know. David Bellamy, let me tell you a story. Peugeot 106 GTI. That's going to go quick, I'm sure. Wayne Rushworth in a Ford Puma. Pair of BMW Mini Cooper R50s, Tommy Grout in 129, and then Gary Franks and Steve Waite in 265. Now, I've seen that thing race in a number of different things, and they are quick.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see some Mini Coopers out. Don't know why didn't see any for a couple of years until a couple of years ago, and they're now starting to appear. The R50s. We see lots of R53s, the supercharged ones, in our turbo tin tops category, but yeah, not many of the Coopers. Going back a couple, you got Wayne in the Puma. He's another local man. I think he's raced at Combe many times. So he's a Swindon based, I think. So
even more local to me, considering that's where I live.
Yeah,
I should know that, but I missed that one completely. Oh,
that's all right.
Sorry, Wayne. And I don't know, I haven't seen this one, but on the YouTube channel, Chris Morris has said, shout out to Waz in the PEST 24 sponsored Ford Puma.
That is the aforementioned Puma, yeah. So that's Wayne Rushworth.
Of course, Waz, Wayne Rushworth, yeah. I thought it may be. I wasn't sure for definite, though. Thank you. So there you go. Good, big shout out there. Class F, Adam Brown in his Ford Fiesta XR2. Did you have one of those, Tom, as well, an XR2?
No, couldn't afford one of those.
No. So that's Adam that you mentioned before, Chris. He's races with our chairman.
Because he also races in the XR Challenge, or he used to at least, and just lovely car, the XR2. He's very nimble. Mark Alexander Williams in the Citroen Saxo. Miles Mosley in the Peugeot 106 Rally.
Yep.
So that would be good. At Class G on his own, Andrew Barron in a Ford KA. Now that's probably not going to go terrifically quick. I wouldn't have thought.
I could be wrong, and forgive me, Andrew, if I'm wrong, but I think he might have withdrawn, and also Mark Alexander Williams and Lewis. Saxo. I think they've also withdrawn. Yep.
Okay. Class PC, which is the Puma. Because that was another one that was a championship that tried to get going, wasn't it? And didn't.
No, I think
on its own. I mean, as a standalone.
Yeah,
thing.
it's the drivers are members of our club, but they're their own. They are their own series, and I don't think they've ever had big aspirations to be a huge standalone grid. They've always been content with a small kind of core of friendly drivers that get on well with each other. It's almost unheard of. There's no for any politics to take place, no contact. So, yeah, I mean, they've only got a handful, just a few this time, but we have had 10 or more a particular round. So
I'm not surprised. I mean, they just look to me like they would make great racing cars. Just the size and shape, the wheelbase length, everything on them. And I know Ladders, Robert Ladbrook, of course, one of the motorsport journalists, a good friend of mine. He had one of those, and that was one of the
he raced
things,
with us.
Yeah, and he absolutely adored it. You know, he said they were great fun to race.
Yeah, handling cars. And again, I'll mention Hugo again. He's got one as well. So he's a fan of the Puma. So
How's he getting out of that?
yeah, I think they're quite roomy actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
the
not even
Puma
gonna...
worked, and yet the Cougar didn't, and yet I loved that car.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you
Don't know.
not,
You
Tom?
hardly
I
ever
liked
see
it.
them. do you?
No, they disappeared massively, but
Yeah, they were terrible cars.
maybe I just like Cougars. I don't know. Hey,
next we're talking about the Probe. Remember
Yeah.
Ford Probe.
well, I knew you'd like the Probe, mate.
He's steady.
Yeah.
Chucking a Calibra, and you've got a collection there.
Hey, there we go. The Vauxhall Calibra was wicked. Class R, which of course is the RX-8. So we've got 4 of those. I've got 4 of these on my list. Bill Gray and Alexander Gray, Simon Hans and Joseph Roche, Simon Evans, and then Jonathan Harbour.
Yeah, so Jonathan's another local as well. This is, I think last year was his first year of racing. He used to sprint, used to be a regular at the Dick Mayo Sprint, I think, at Combe. He's another Swindon man. So.
Oh, okay. Again, I should know. Just quickly bringing up a couple of messages. Justin Holloway again says, Wayne and I are both from Swindon. We both run pest control business and we'll both be in the same gazebo tomorrow. My Procure traps are bigger than his. Guys, I'm in Swindon as well. I'm up in North Swindon, so we need to catch up for sure. And I look forward to commentating on you guys on Saturday then. And I don't know, I'd say I'd hopefully catch up with you, but I got to set up the live feed in the morning, so I might not be able to. Martin Adams says, really disappointed we can't race Future Classics this year. Raced every season since it started. Also love Combe. Saw my first ever race meeting there in 1976. Martin, would that upset you if I say I was born in 1976 then? December as well.
Depends how old he was, I suppose, isn't it, really?
True, he might
a wee
be a baby
nipper,
in
couldn't
arms.
he?
Yeah.
A wee nipper.
Thanks for the mention. Martin, I'll always mention you, mate. I love your car. I've always adored your TR7 or TR8, as I call it. Class TA. Intriguing stuff here. Adam Presswell and his Vauxhall Astra VXR. David Cox in his Volkswagen Golf GTI. That's the more modern styled one, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it was a Mark 5 or 6, but unfortunately, David's had to withdraw. It's a COVID-related thing. He's a northerner, and I think he's
steady. David, steady.
Well, they're what are they?
Against him, just saying.
Tier 3 or whatever.
Yeah. He wasn't saying anything bad, Chris. He was just saying.
Well, if he's trying to create a divide,
he's a northerner.
And Robert Hosier in that awesome Seat Leon.
Yeah.
I feel worried now. David's got that smile on his face going, Dawesy, you've just stitched me up there. Sorry,
no, I just hadn't realised what I'd said about unfortunately.
And incidentally, by the way, just to show we're covered off, is that Martin Asm says, not at all, I'm old. So he wasn't a baby in arms. So you could have gone with it, Martin. Only some of us would have known. Class TB, Martin Pimlott in the Seat Leon Cupra R Mark 1 Turbo. Class TC, Charlie Newton Derby in a Mini Cooper SR53 brackets SC.
Yep.
What?
We just, to make life easier for you commentators, we either add a T or for a turbo or SC for supercharged afterwards. Just in case you didn't know.
He's going to get himself in a mess.
Well, that worked, didn't it? That worked, David, didn't it? Super.
There's a lot of abbreviations. Yeah. Come on, Chris. We'll be testing
I'm with
you.
it. I'm with it, mate. I'm with it. Class TD, Toby Harris, and of course Lisa Selby.
They're again locals, so they're Stonehouse, I think, South Gloucestershire, something like that. So yeah, they've been out testing their new Fiesta at Combe. Steady on nothing always.
Jed, you troublemaker. Yeah, and of course, and Lisa. Obviously, if she's racing, she's not on the board, but she certainly seems to help out on the exec side of things, doesn't she?
Yeah, both of them actually are committee members. Toby runs our New Millennium series for post year 2000 cars, which aren't here this weekend, and Lisa is a whiz with design. So when we come to do the shows, our sort of fancy brochures, that kind of thing, magazine adverts, she kindly does those for us. So yeah, they're both brilliant volunteers.
I know that she was lovely supportive help before we launched into the awards do as well. And she organises that dinner dance. So yeah, and then Toby drives all of the lighting and the video and everything at the dinner dance. Okay, yeah. Okay, got you. That makes sense now, because I remember them talking as well about this Fiesta that they were going to work on and what have you as well. Stuart Kilroy. Silk, no, not Stuart Kilroy Silk. Peugeot 207 GTI, and then Clive Seegers and Andrew Grimm in the Mini Cooper S JCW R56T.
Yeah.
Tom's loving these letters that I've got to deal with. Look, I can see it on his happy
I'm just
face.
looking if there's anything else that we can.
I felt like we needed to throw you a Scooby snack then, Tom, because
I'm just looking at crikey, you're right.
Quick, we got to let David go in a minute, and we're nearly there, and he can feel it. He can sense that we're there. Reserves officially is what I've got down here, but this may be different to what you have now. Class C: William Lynch and Frederick Lynch in a Ford Fiesta ST. John Bolt in a Ford Puma. Is there any relation to the other Bolt we were talking about earlier? In the 370Z, or was that Bolton?
Bolton, yeah, no, different.
Okay, just different. Yep. Class R, so another RX-8 in as a reserve, James Brody and Piers Maserati.
Yeah, so these are a well-known pair in racing circles. And
yeah, I thought I recognised them.
Yeah, so the Maseratis, have raced at all different levels, but Piers has raced professionally. He's competed at Le Mans multiple times and Daytona and so on. And Brody, I'm certain, has done British GT. So they typically race a very powerful 930 or a 964 turbo 911 with us in future classics or modern classics. They've got two 911s, the Maseratis, that is. And so yeah, it's great. They've supported us from the beginning with the RX-8. They've done these first 2 seasons. They've now got their car up for sale. Actually, they're just ready to move on to something else. They quite fancy a Porsche 944 next. But yeah, they've really got into the spirit of the RX-8s. So it's I mean, you couldn't think of anything more different from racing in the Le Mans 24-hour in the 911. But yeah,
I think looking as well, it looks like James Brody was in 2007 FIA GT3 European Championship as well.
Right.
Oh wow. Okay.
Scary case said 1RGT3 by the looks of things. I can't imagine there's too many.
Are they still down as reserves, David?
No, I think they're in, but again,
we'll catch up tomorrow with that.
I'm not certain, but yeah, I think they're in.
No problem. Lee Campbell was down as a reserve as well in a BMW Mini Cooper SR53 SC, which means supercharged. I know that now. And Matthew Shears, who should be in because he was first reserve in a BMW Mini Cooper SR53 SC. Now, why is that one down as a Class TT? That presumably that is actually turbo test.
Turbo tin tops taster. Yeah, taster, so it'll be his first race with us. Just to
David,
give
honestly,
it a try.
You do this just to stitch
so
us
easy.
up, don't you?
I even knew that turbo tin top taster. I mean, come on.
Honestly, Smitherum, you and me are going to have words.
Turbo tin top taster in the come on.
It's too many letters. I'll just be going TTFN the whole time. That's all I'll be able to do. I've got to put this question because Jed's asked a couple of times. He's clearly got an obsession. David, do you have any Mercedes taking part in any of your series?
No, we've had an SL before, but don't know why. All I can think of is that more recent models have been auto, and one of the rules that the club typically carries through all its series is that the gearbox has got to be the same type. So there aren't that many autos raced. So yeah, shame. I'd be nice to see some.
That makes sense. And I got to put this up because, bless her, Vicky got very excited when we said that we were broadcasting it live. And we did just say Lee Campbell was down as a third reserve. Hopefully that means he's in his Mini Cooper S. She can't get to the circuit and watch because they're Litland. So she's going to be glued to the stream. Make sure you keep chatting to me during that via this chat during the stream, because all of this is possible, and be putting it up again, Vicky. So glad that we can bring that to you. Now, is there any that I've missed out that's worth you mentioning, or have I done an okay enough job there, Mr.
I think that's a pretty comprehensive job. Yeah. No, can't add anything at the moment.
I humbly apologise that we've doubled your time allowance.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But I've loved every second of it, and I cannot thank you enough, Mr. Smitherum. Please pass on my apologies to the family.
That's fine.
And thank you. We look forward to you guys coming on Saturday, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got two sort of cheesy thank yous to make, actually. One is to the circuit, because they didn't have to accommodate us. I realise they are a motor racing circuit, but we needed an alternative to Le Mans, and they stepped up and delivered. So really appreciate that.
I wouldn't say alternative. I'd say something better than Le Mans.
Well, hang on, that we need that as a snapshot audio, don't we? To say we need an alternative to Le Mans.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, normally these things take a year of planning, and Castle Combe circuit and all of the people that are involved. And the second thank you is related to that, and that is to the volunteers, not just marshals, because there are other volunteers as well that are involved. Everybody has plans. Okay, plans this year have been a bit messed up, but we've got sufficient numbers. We've got good numbers of marshals, and everyone from medics, recovery. They've fitted a lot in what? When did we decide this, Tom? 5 weeks ago, something like that.
Crikey, yeah, if that, yeah. I mean, I think it was probably about that. Yeah. And like you said, alluded to as well, there are two other big events on. I mean, the Burkitt is taking people away from us, and Steve Weston's not around this weekend. And I just don't know if you're going to thank him or not, but I mean, it's Beardy. Obviously, Beardy's taken on
Richard Beard.
A lot. So,
well known, obviously. He normally runs. Is he your chief
marshal? Yeah, head marshal. Yeah,
but
God.
He is actually
he's our God.
Yeah.
Beardy.
Yeah. So he is our big cheese clerk of the course for this event.
Brilliant.
So.
Excellent.
Just a small thank you, actually, to all of the volunteers, or a gesture to the volunteers. We've spoken to what's his name, Tom, at
Marcus Catering.
At the what's his official title now? My mind's going blank.
Cafe Bar H is what it's originally.
Cafe Bar H.
Cafe Bar H, and Marcus is the custodian of that.
Yeah. So he is currently putting together about 175 lunch bags, which will go to all of the volunteers. Just
that's a great
to say thank you.
That's really good of you. Thank you. That's so kind. Yeah, people enjoy that.
Cool.
And Emma Strawford, our very own Emma Strawford, of course, says, "Well done, Dawes, Davis and Smitherum. Hope Saturday goes well. I'll be tuning in on the live stream. I'll be putting that up for the live stream. Set the reminders. Now, I think that I'm going to be setting it for 11:30 start. Mm-hmm. The first race is due to start at 11:55. Now, I'm assuming, David, is that whilst that's the aim is 11:55, if by some minor miracle we manage to get ahead of ourselves, it will carry on a little bit earlier than 11:55.
Yeah, the clerks always aim, because you never know what. Sorry about my clock.
It's brilliant, mate. I love it. It's so cool.
Yeah. You never know what might happen. Delays, unforeseen. Accidents or whatever it may be. So yeah, they will always try and run ahead of time. So yeah.
So I will set it for 11. Sorry, David. I'll just quickly say this. I will set the start on this the live feed for 11:30, because the sort of idiosyncrasy is that we can start early with the live feed But if it goes past 10 minutes late, then it just cancels it out. So I will set it for 11:30, but make sure you go and set the reminder for the live feed, because if I suddenly go live at 11:15, for example, it will then notify you that we've gone live, and then you can go straight away to watching it. So get yourself on that, just so everybody understands. Sorry, David, what you were going to say?
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, in addition to being able to watch it on the Castle Combe Facebook page and YouTube channel, the Classic Sports Car Club will also have it streaming live on our Facebook page as well. So, that's just dead simple to find. Just Facebook and just search for Classic Sports Car Club. That's the main club page. If you're interested, having watched one of our particular series, in finding out more or making comments or whatever it may be, all 11 of our race series have their own pages as well. So you can just search for the name, CSCC Tin Tops, for example, and you'll find our group.
And I can't recommend it enough. They're such a great club to be involved with. I love working with you guys. I know David and I have spoken in the past, is that circumstantially is that I don't get to do as many as I'd like to, because as you appreciate, is that we get pulled from pillar to post at the best of times anyway. But I always adore it. Very quickly, just bringing up, Chris Mason has also said, for anybody that's staying overnight, Friday, the medical centre will be manned overnight should you need any help, and that's at the bottom of race control. It's fairly obvious because it's got obviously a garage where an ambulance can go into, heaven forbid, but it will be open if you are staying over Friday night. Mike Cotton says, too cold for the t-shirt. Come on, we need these t-shirts out there. We should have done hoodies. I might actually do some hoodies or something so that people can buy those instead. Tim Perry, one of the Orange Army, says, dilly dilly. And I needed to bring this one up that says, Jed Dawes says, great gesture from Classic Sports Car Club staff. Much appreciated. And I'm sure Marcus at Cafe Bar H will see us right.
Yeah,
so
he does a good little picnic bag. I think that's a really good touch. I think, these guys do volunteer their time, and, and we just can't afford to do it all the time. But you guys coming in doing that as a gesture is brilliant. So thank you, David.
They know we love them, don't we?
Just to add to that, the club, the Classic Sports Car Club, is a club of members. It is effectively, if you like, owned by the members. And so the funds that help pay for things like 175 lunches for the marshals, both ultimately they always come from the drivers, out of the driver's pocket. But this year we started something new, and drivers at each round can volunteer monies for they can put £10 in for the marshals, which help provide things like the lunches, and they can also spend £10 as a donation to the Woodland Trust as well, which is nice. So the drivers this year so far have donated well over £2,000 to the marshals. So
that's great.
It's big thanks to them.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Thank you, drivers. Much appreciated, because the Orange Army know how much that I love them, but that's because I'm on the mic, so I actually get to say it. The drivers don't have that luxury that I have of being audible. So ours goes without saying how much you love it, and that's why we've loved Combe TV during all of this. Which, by the sounds of it, by the way, so everybody knows, it has been nagged at me. Yes, Combe TV is going to carry on through the winter. We've got all sorts of interviews that are going to happen. We're going to get Lucky Carer's going to come on. He's just won the Ferrari Challenge UK, and he's just one of the best characters in the paddock. And I can't wait to get him on. I've spoken to him more, and there's a lot more to him than I realised, and I'm going to bring all that to the fore. We're going to get commentators on. We're going to have Richard Davis and David George going to come on as a show with me. That will be really good. And that's just off the top of my head. We're going to do a whole host of them. We've got the awards coming up as well, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I tell you what, we'll pause that one because, David, we've held you for long enough. Tom and I can natter about that stuff. Thank you so much for coming on, mate. I know you were kind of a bit apprehensive about this, but you relaxed into it instantly. Thank you so much, mate.
No, thank you. No, thanks for having me, and I really appreciate the support from everybody at home, as it were. And I hope that they'll make the journey out to come and watch it live. So it's the drivers will put on the best show they can for you. So. They
do. Well, right, Mr. Smitheram, thank you, my friend.
Thanks, David.
See you at the weekend.
Thank
Cheers.
You. Cheers, buddy. So there's David going. I've got to put this one up as well. Love this lady, Pippa Gore. She goes off Orange Army and everywhere nowadays, and she says, "Well, I'm just saying goodnight from your pit dance queen." She does. She dances, and I look down. Certainly, Donington's the most obvious one where I get to see, and I do love that. And I love the fact that Emma Strawford said, "King Carer, he is lucky Carer." We'll work out all sorts of people that we'll get interviews with. We've also got a show coming up in. Is it 2 weeks' time? I think it is 2 weeks' time on the 5th of November. Would that be in 2 weeks' time? That's about right, isn't it? I think it is. 5th of November's in 2 weeks, isn't it?
Go on, yeah. Go on then.
But we've got the charity karting event at Castle Combe, the Teenage Cancer Trust that, of course, we normally do during the season on the sort of like the Saturday evening of the 2-day event. But, of course, the whole year's been kiboshed massively. But fair play, Luke Cooper is still running that with Ian Salmon. Those two set that one up. And I'm being asked to race in that as well. Hell, I don't know whether they've got a cart with enough power to carry me around. Although I'm a slimmer version of me these days. I've lost a stone already. So there we go.
Yeah, your fingers look thinner.
Yeah, they do, mate. I know you weren't happy about that. But I may well be racing. We may well be doing live coverage. But in 2 weeks' time, we've got a show that is going to preview that event, and we're going to even have somebody from the Teenage Cancer Trust charity as well. So keep an eye on that. I will launch that one soon. We got all sorts, but last weekend in November we are doing. Yeah, we're doing the awards night because obviously we can't do the awards night in the normal way. It's going to be live. So everybody's able to watch. You wouldn't necessarily, many of you don't normally get to go to the awards dues, but we're going to do it live. Everybody can get involved. Everybody can make their comments. We're going to have all of the championships and series are going to be brought up and special awards, interviews. Hopefully, as many of you drivers are going to be there and ready to do this, and we'll interview anybody that can't. We'll grab videos, but we all get to be part of the awards do this year.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? I think that is the one thing that's come out of it, that everyone can be involved and it can get, like you say, it'll be there on YouTube, be there on Facebook and people can get involved more. I mean, the awards, don't get me wrong, is always a great night. Like you said, it's great to get physically meet and have a few drinks, and it's always great fun. But this is the best we can do this year. And I know that I'm just worried about the gin supplies and how pissed you're going to be by the end of it, because it does. It's a big old night. When we do it live, isn't it? It's a big old night. It
is, but don't panic. I'm a semi-professional drinker. It's fine.
Yes, I'd say professional. I think you got it down. I think you got it down to a fine art now.
I've been training hard, mate. Now, haven't I?
But it is a long night, and I think the great thing is, we need to launch that soon because we want to get as many people involved. We want lots of people to watch it to support our drivers, because and I think the interaction is going to be the key thing. Because obviously, on the awards night, Chris, you interview people very quickly and talk about it, but this is going to be the point of from marshals, from just to people who've been watching, absolutely everything. Everyone can get involved. So I think here's a T-shirt. So I think.
King Carer and I'm Gin King. So
Gin King,
yeah.
So I think that's going to be really great. So 28th, please put it in your diary, and we really want to support our drivers on that one.
28th of November, Saturday evening, from probably, I'm guessing we got to finalise it, but probably from 6 o'clock. I'm probably going to even have my tux on for it as well here. We're going to go whole hog. It's going to be a really enjoyable night. Get your beverages at the ready. Remember, it's a family show though, but we're going to have some fun together. More of us than normally get to do it. Let's turn a negative into a positive. More of us can do it. Tim Perry says, thank you, David. Really appreciate it. Obviously to David Smitheram. Absolutely. Thank you so much, David Smitheram. And hugely appreciate it. And I'm so sorry we kept him for longer, but it just felt natural. Chris Mason says, just like to say we are losing a couple of members of the team after this weekend. Just to say happy retirement to Dr. Duncan Young, Mike Horton, and Mike Skelton. I didn't know he was going. Thank you for your support, guys. Massively, massive thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
Martin Adams, so good to have you with us tonight, mate. Please come back and watch some more of the shows. Thanks, guys. Really good to hear you. Appreciate it. One of our local racers, Andy Abrams, says, have a great day Saturday. Would have come up, but racing the BMW at Thruxton. John Hutchison, that's John Hutchison Jr., by the way. I'll race with you, Dawesy. Hey, mate, if you're going to come and do this, it's all the money a big chunk of the money goes to charity. Come and do it. Drop me a line and I'll put you in contact with the guys to get you booked in, because there are various racing drivers taking part in it. They're making an effort to try and get some commentators taking part in it, as well as all sorts of other people. And in fact, the reason we're doing it on the 5th is that on the 8th, I think it is, of November, there's like another event they're doing, and they're trying to get people that are going and racing the karts to enter this as well, because, we raise money for charity. It's a great fun. It always scares me because the racing drivers get their own back on us commentators, as if we say stuff that we shouldn't say. I never do I?
You'll get rammed. No, you're pretty good. I think that's the one thing, Chris. In fairness, everyone knows that you treat everyone with an even.
I try. I abuse them all. Jed Dawes says, will there be an award for driest marshal for the Autumn Classic? Gerald Howe is my nominee. Hey, that's not good. How did he stay dry then?
Who knows?
That's not good.
I'll have to ask his daughter. Embarrass them both.
Tom, one of the other things I wanted to talk about is I noticed that there was a post put up on a new thing about sort of winter track days. Yeah, so we've just launched some winter track days, 9 till 4 with a lunch break, £150 per driver. So and the numbers will be capped as well to give, because obviously appreciate the days can draw in pretty quickly. So absolute bargain. Come and support us. Get out, give yourself a blast off before you lock the car away for the winter. So they're running in November, and also we'll be launching our Christmas campaign soon as well. So there are, if you are a member of the racing club, I think you already get discounts and things. And we will be hopefully working with Motorsport UK this year as well. So if you are registered with Motorsport UK, keep an eye out, because we're going to be offering Motorsport UK members or anyone who's a part of them. Good discounts as well, so keep an eye out on that. And it's just trying to, it's trying to work with, they are our governing body, aren't they? And work a bit closer and give something back where we can. And it has, because it's been a tough year, and it's a tough year, for everybody and the circuit. And we just need to keep going. So we appreciate that as well. It genuinely has, and many of us, myself included, are still trying to pick up the pieces, and so many of you have been struggling for all sorts of different reasons. Both with your organizations and your jobs and mental health. And please take your mental health seriously. Many people know that I'm very passionate about that as someone who suffers with that, has suffered with that.
Yeah.
And I, it is a big deal. So make sure you look at all the amount of support. And the reason I say it is that there's massive support, with acknowledgement that mental health is taking a hit at the moment. And I bring it up because that was our original remit, wasn't it, Tom? Is to try and help and give this community. And I have to say is that I know loads of people have turned to me and Tom and said, thank you so much for doing all of this. But I have to turn it on its head and say, thank you to all of you guys for being so interactive. I mean, I've felt like a part of a family.
Yeah, no, without doubt, Chris. I have to say the same. It's been great. There's so many people. I've been involved around the circuit for over 10 years, but obviously working for Combe for the last 5 and being involved heavily in the race means the last 3 or 4 years. But and you get to see people. But this is actually now, putting names to faces, talking to people a lot more. I think like you said, everyone's very friendly, and everyone wants to see the best of the place. And the Autumn Classic was a prime example where we just, yes, there was safety reasons of getting the cars out there, but when you saw the poor marshals huddled around, there's no way we could have left people out there any longer. You wouldn't have left a dog out there. It was, those guys, they were just as disappointed, but they worked so hard. And it's great, when an outside club comes in and and says that, and Dave was very keen on this thing, that I know this has been thrown upon for you guys, last minute, we really like to do something. And the lunch was suggested because at the end of the day, I know, don't get me wrong, the marshals, a lot of them bring their own stuff, but it is great to be able to have a little bit extra. There's a cake, there's a sandwich, whatever, and it just adds to it, doesn't it? And I think that's all we can really do, isn't it, to say a big thank you to everyone.
It is, and just suddenly seeing this coming in is that it's looking great. Tim Perry says it's what it's all about for me: family, friends, and fun. Gerald Howe says such a pleasure and an honour to be involved, and thank you guys for that. But equally as well, let's go the other side of the fence. An example here: Chris Dennis says thanks, David Smitheram, Dawsey, and Tim. Tim, he's called you Tim. Great show. We'll be spectating at Quarry. Got my ticket. Much appreciated. And it does. It sums it up. That is the whole spirit. We've had the drivers, we've had families, we've the drivers, we've had mechanics, we've had spectators, the Orange Army, the medical crew, the maintenance crew, recovery crew. Everybody's got involved. It's going to carry on by the sounds of it. We're going to have all sorts of shows going on. It's fun. It's everybody's worked out. We don't take this too serious. I don't know how to take things seriously. Let's be honest. It's been a pleasure. We got to try and get you back more often, Mr. Davis, as well. I think.
Yeah. It's just a lot going on, and sometimes you're best. I'm best off not getting involved. Sometimes I don't have the knowledge. I got called out on that a few weeks ago by Margaret. She called me out on a couple of things when we were talking about Formula Fords and stuff, and in a pleasant way. She just said, "You can see me glaze over occasionally. I just don't have the knowledge that you guys do." And like I said, I'm picking it up all the time, but.
You're my spoil mate, though. You're my bad cop.
Thanks, mate. I was going to say, I thought I was going to know Jekyll to your Hyde. I'm not sure though.
Absolutely, you are, mate. You are. It's Dawsey and Davis dilly. That's exactly, what this is all about, mate. This is what it's all about. Definitely. Listen, thank you so much for everybody that's come.
Cheers,
it's
everyone.
Been a pleasure. Hopefully, you're coming on Saturday. The tickets are still on sale till midday tomorrow.
Yeah, midday tomorrow you'll get an email, but don't panic. Basically, anyone is worried, you just go to Competitor Gate Quarry, park up, and they'll tick your name off. It's as simple as that. So and you can walk. You should better walk round from there to camp. Obviously, you can't get in the paddock, unfortunately, but we should better have a bit more free flowing this time. And please do what you can. Yeah,
so get there. It is a lot more that you can go and check it out round. This time as well. It is just looking amazing. Honestly, the cars that they're amazing. If you can't make it for various reasons, as we say, is that the launch we are going to be streaming it live. It'll be me in the main box and Dave Goddard, his first time appearing at Castle Combe, and I know he's been wanting to do it for some time.
Excellent.
He's done Classic Sports Car Club a few times. From the Midlands. Very, very knowledgeable on all of this stuff. He's going to be my spoil, to be honest, in the fact that he knows so much that I can get away with not knowing as much. We'll have fun. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. We'll see you on Saturday.
Take care, everyone.
Becoming a racing driver has never been easier with Castle Combe Circuit. Book your Ards Novice Drivers Training course at the Wiltshire venue today. The easiest and quickest way into competitive on-track action.
Welcome to Castle Combe. My name's Alan Cooper. I'm the Chief Driving Racing Instructor here at this circuit. We're here today to do the Novice Driver Training course, often known as the ARDS course, which is the first way to start off and get your racing driving licence. So, no further ado, let's get on and show you what's involved.
So you've seen the format. Everyone here today passed their tests and now have their racing licence. Who knows? The next time I see them could be as I commentate on them in front of the usual packed house of racing fans here at Castle Combe Circuit. All you need to do to be next is to visit castlecombecircuit.co.uk and select Become a Racing Driver under the Racing tab. Becoming a racing driver is easier than you think with Castle Combe Circuit and Motorsport UK.